Macy at AFRTF Sports in Washington, and today it's the NFL playoffs getting underway with the first all-wild card in the history of the National Football League. Today, the Philadelphia Eagles tackle the Atlanta Falcons, two wild card entrants at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Later today, the Houston Oilers will meet the Miami Dolphins at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Well, it rained earlier in the day down in Dixie, but the rain has now stopped in the greater Atlanta area, and it promises to stay that way at least for a couple of hours, hopefully. They've had showers off and on as heavy rains last night tapered off and became more intermittent earlier this morning. But the field was covered, and it's in good shape and should not be a factor, the rain that is, should not be a factor in today's game, although there is still a threat of some rain between kickoff time and the end of the ball game. It has now stopped at the moment. In just a second, the two will be joining the CBS Radio Network. Jack Buck will be describing this game, and the old Baltimore quarterback himself, John Unitas, one of the greatest, considered by many the greatest quarterback ever to play in this NFL game, is going to be handling the color assignment on the radio side for the CBS Network. You can expect it to be a defensive battle, as both these teams have come up with superb defenses in 1978 to make the playoffs. Now let's get out to Jack Buck at Fulton County Stadium.
I must say, John Unitas, that gentleman sang better than you did at the piano bar last night.
He probably had a lot better time than we did, too.
Both teams are on the field. We'll soon have the opening kickoff.
Well, here's how the playoffs are now shaping up. As we said today, Philadelphia and Atlanta. Then later today, Houston meets Miami at the Orange Bowl down in Florida, where the temperature yesterday reached 85 degrees and expected to be pretty much that today, somewhere in the upper 70s, low 80s. It's not really Christmas weather, but beautiful weather for South Florida. On Saturday, December 30th, the alignment will shape up this way. Miami or Denver, depending on the outcome of the game later today between Houston and Miami. Miami or Denver will play at Pittsburgh. That's on Saturday, the 30th of December. Minnesota or Atlanta will play the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, Texas, actually at Irving, Texas, at Texas Stadium later in the day. On Sunday, December 31st, Houston or Denver at New England. And also on Sunday, December 31st, the Philadelphia Eagles or the Minnesota Vikings will play the Rams in Los Angeles. And, of course, all those matchups depend on what happens in the two games today.
Referee Fred Silva is about to conduct the coin toss. We'll see if we'll pick him up on the referee's microphone.
This is heads or tails.
The visiting team, they will call the toss.
Tails. Who's going? Please. I'll rank you in the air, please. Heads is called. Tails is...
There's very little wind advantage or disadvantage here. It's blowing soft field for the most part, what little there is. So Atlanta will get the ball to start the game. We're giving you the Eagles starting lineup. The Falcons on defense play a four-man front with Jeff Yates, Jim Daly, Mike Lewis, and Jeff Murrow. Fulton Kuykendall, Robert Pennywell, and Greg Fazzina are the linebackers. Roland Lawrence, Rick Myers are the quarterbacks, with Frank Reed, Tom Clydemore, the safety men on offense. Wallace Francis and Billy Reichman, the wide receivers. Mike Shannon, left tackle. Dave Scott, left guard. Jeff Van Note, the center. R.C. Field on the right guard. Phil McKinley, the right tackle. They have Steve Bartkowski, Bubba Bean, Haskell stand back in their backfield, and the Falcons will receive to start the game. Now, Philadelphia has lost Nick Mickemeyer with a rib injury, and Mike Michelle, who is their punter, is also their place kicker, and they are a little testy about their field goal kicking game here today, John.
They are a little shaky. Dick DeLeo mentioned yesterday in the press conference that they really haven't been down close to the goal line to let Michelle try any kind of field goals. They certainly do miss Mickemeyer. And according to that rule, of course, he cannot come back to play. He's ready to play for what we understand, but just like Keith Presley, he's not going to be able to come in and perform for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jack Wilpott ready for this kickoff and to get this ball game started.
Dennis Pearson ran one back 100 yards against St. Louis a week ago. This one goes short down the middle. And it's taken by one of the wide men at the 8-yard line. And that's George Franklin. He's across the 20, 25. Did not get to the 30-yard line. Atlanta will go from there. As the ball was returned by George Franklin, who started the season with St. Louis. A 21-yard return. The Falcons have the ball at their own 28.
Well, we think we will see the Falcons come out and stay with their conservative style of play. I have seen Bartkowski play a few times this year, and he does occasionally come out and open the ball game up with a pass. We'll just have to wait and see.
Bubba Bean and Haskell Stanback are in the backfield. Stanback comes on a wig. Bubba Bean is hit in the backfield. Tackled for a loss on the play. On the very first play from scrimmage, Dennis Harrison and Randy Logan were up there to make the tackle. Now we have Logan, the strong safety, making the first hit from scrimmage. What was he doing? Cheating a little bit, John?
I believe Logan was up there real tight, looking to see maybe they have types to the Falcons coming out running on that first down. Logan did come up, and he really loves to hit, Jack. You'll see him up there probably all afternoon on that first down situation.
Second down and 11. Haskell Stanback and Bubba Bean in the backfield. Stanback over the right side. Moves across the 30 to the 30-yard line. Thinking about third and 3 as he carries for 6 with a good burst. And Bill Berge, the linebacker, got to him. He followed Jeff Van Note, R.C. Seelman, and Phil McKinley, who was filling in for Warren Bryant on the right side, and they got off the ball very well.
Bill Berge, one of the outstanding middle linebackers in the game, coming from Cincinnati in a big trade a few years back, has been the second leading tackler on this Philadelphia Eagles team all year long. A great leader and a fine man to have back there in the middle.
Third and 3. And the tailback gets the ball and Stanback a first down. Phillips, the outside linebacker. Any particular reason why they're running right?
Well, most teams coming out are right-handed. We're very seldom to see that team to run too often back to their left side. And we have a good tight end in Jim Mitchell with the Atlanta Falcons, who does a tremendous job and blocking down on that defensive end, and then, of course, the guards coming kicking out on the linebacker. You'll see that most teams we prefer to run to the right side more so than what they do left.
On their own 40-yard line, first down, a fake to Stanback, first down pass, hit in the backfield, and sacked for a loss is Steve Bartkowski. He was sacked 39 times this year. The pressure was big that time, and the Eagles got in there with Dennis Harrison breaking it down for the most part, and then the tackle in the backfield at the 30-yard line and a loss of 10, second and 20.
Well, there was good pressure by the Eagles that time, and you'll see that Bartkowski is a different type quarterback than what Jaworski is he will stand back there and take his punishment. He's really not that quick of foot. He will run occasionally. Basically, you're always going to know where to find him, and that's 7-yard deep back in that backfield.
Carl Hairston made the tackle. Here's the draw play. Bubba Bean tackled at the 30. No gain. It'll be third down and 20. And it was a good arm tackle that time. Made by Hairston again, along with Reggie Wilkes, the rookie linebacker out of Georgia Tech. He's probably playing in front of a lot of the home folks down here. Third down and 19, we'll call it, as the draw play failed to work.
Wasn't a bad call, Jack. Second down, out of third. Either draw a screen on type of thing. They're getting good pressure. I would think that he would probably go to a screen or draw quite often during this ball game, as the pressure's going to be put on him pretty well.
Stanback running right, trying to turn the corner. Gained only 5 yards, and it's ticking time for Atlanta as Stanback was tackled at his own 35-yard line with Carl Hairston again in on the action. And John James will do the punting. Well, they did a pretty good job, but then the Eagles, particularly on that first down pass play in the sack, came up with a big defensive play.
James, a strong putter for the Falcons. He's been a real treat to have because he can really put the foot into it. He usually hangs it up there pretty well, so it's very seldom gets too much of a run back.
Here's John Shara on a dandy punt, taking it on the 23-yard line, back to the 30, at the 34, fumble, Eagles have it, the Eagles got it back after Shara fumbled the ball bounced laterally across the field, a 42-yard punt by John James, and they dodged the bullet that time.
Well, they had good hang time on that ball as the Falcons were able to get down underneath it, and Shara took a chance on not fair catching it and bringing it up the field. The first good break right there was a fumble, but the Eagles were able to capitalize and get the ball back.
Louis Giamona fell on the ball and got it back. So we have 11-12 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Let's take time out.
During the regular season, the Philadelphia Eagles, who came on real strong the second half of the season, wound up with a regular campaign record of 9 wins and 7 losses. And this is the first time in many, many years that the Eagles have been in postseason competition. I think you have to go back to 1960 when they last won the NFL championship. and were led by Norm Van Brocklin to the title that year. The other team in today's first game, Atlanta, also finished with an identical record of 9-7. And this is a rather interesting ball game because Atlanta's ex-coach, who was fired last year, Marion Campbell, immediately was picked up by Philadelphia coach Dick Vermeil and named as his top defensive coach. And since Marion Campbell was fired at Atlanta and took over at Philadelphia, there has been a remarkable change in the Philadelphia defensive alignment and a vast improvement. And most of the credit by the players and the other coaches has gone to Marion Campbell.
First down, Eagles at their own 34-yard line with Hogan and Montgomery in the I formation. Jaworski at quarterback. Tight ends on the right side, two tight end formation. Here's the toss to the tailback, Montgomery. Trying to get outside. Gets away from one tackle. Roland Lawrence up in the corner. They were shooting two on first down.
He was up, the whole team was up there very tight on that first down situation. Carmichael was left out there on the left side of the field on a one-to-one situation. And, of course, they really were not able to capitalize on the situation. We have a flag on the play, however. We'll wait and see what the referee has to say.
Holding declined, John.
Holding penalty against the Philadelphia Eagles declined because of the loss on the play. A good play, a tackle by Roland Lawrence, a steady performer for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, there was a big loss. 12 yards on the play. Second down and 22. And the Eagles are back at their 22. Jaworski with split-backs now. Two tight ends. Smith and Carmichael, the wide receivers. Jaworski throws outside. Carmichael made a shoe top grab and short gain on the play out to the 28-yard line. Harold Carmichael curled in front of Roland Lawrence. Boy, he's
That was a quick out, Jack, and Jaworski, of course, coming up, elected to go for the quick out pass, the short gainer, rather than try to get everything back on the first down situation. I think it's a smart call in some instances, and now it's early in the ball game. He's just going to try to probe a little bit here and see what Atlanta's going to do for him.
They're down in 17 for the Eagles from their own 27. They gained 5 on the last play. Atlanta shows the blitz. They are blitzing. Jaworski makes the throw. Chase hit. Touched in the backfield. The Atlanta blitz. Middle linebacker Robert Pennywell could not be stopped.
Someone gets the blitz pickup. Fullback or halfback's in the back to pick it up. You can't leave the quarterback unprotected in these kind of situations. Philadelphia Eagles have been suspect on picking up blitzes and also their pass protection all year as they've been sacked 41 times. So that you know that the Falcons have been successful now. I'm sure we're going to see a whole lot more of that type of blitz.
Billy Reichman back to receive the punt from Michelle at the line drive. He takes it on the 48 of Philadelphia. He is tackled at the 48 and really thrown back. I mean, he was thrown back. Downfield to make the Eagle tackle with Ray Phillips, the linebacker. A 34-yard punt, no return, and very good coverage by Atlanta, or by Philadelphia on a line drive kick.
It was a line drive kick, and Phillips did get down very, very quickly, and they got down and made the tackle, so it's first down for the Falcons.
Well, with 9:48 remaining in the first quarter, there's the timeout on the field with the score: Philadelphia nothing, Atlanta nothing.
Jack, I think that you saw the type of defensive game we're going to be watching all season, all afternoon long from the Atlanta Falcons. That blitz being a tremendous asset for them. They've shown it all year long. They've stopped most of the people with it. Their defense is number 4 in the NFC overall. They're number 2 in the NFC against the pass. So not too many people have been successful running against them or throwing against them. That's their strong point with the Atlanta Falcons is their defensive football team. Gronkowski is not doing what I would think should be where he should be doing a lot better job than what he has in the previous ball game.
Each team has had the ball once. Now, John, this is when the players settle down and do their thing properly, right?
Well, they're nervous when they come on the field. The best thing to do is get wrapped real quick and get those butterflies out of your system. I think we'll find that we could possibly open the game up, and possibly not. We'll just have to wait and see.
Unitas and Jack Buck with you from Atlanta, despite a morning-long rain here in the Georgia city. The big crowd has shown up, and very few no-shows here this afternoon. Steve Bartkowski and Bubba Bean, and Haskell Stanback in his backfield. They do not pack the running wallop the other club does. Bartkowski throws it outside. It's caught at the 45-yard line of Philadelphia. Herman Edwards came up and he made the hit as the catch was made, but Billy Reichman, a little guy who doesn't mind taking his licks, 5'11", 172 from Louisiana Tech. Billy Rickman made the catch from Bartkowski for a gain of 5.
It was a fine catch by Rickman. The ball was not that well thrown by Bartkowski. He was a little high with it. Rickman went up, picked it up, and Herman Edwards, of course, made the tackle.
After the first down pass, it's 2nd and 5. Stanback cuts it back up the middle, gets the first down for Atlanta inside the 40-yard line of Philadelphia. He's down to the 37-yard line. Atlanta does not have the big running back. Bubba Bean is 195. Stanback is listed at 210, but if he is 210, he is just barely. They don't have the big bruising blocking back.
Oh, but they have the good quicknesses, Jack, and that's to sometimes make up for the difference of the size with the quickness moving in and out of that line and being able to make the adjustment as he watches his offensive people do their job.
On first down, Bubba Bean goes right, following Stanback, who makes the block. Bean gets inside the 35-yard line, down near the 33-yard line. For a substantial gain, Ray Phillips and Reggie Wilkes, the linebackers for the Eagles, were there to make the hit. In the first quarter, 8:20 remaining in the period, no score. Atlanta has the ball for the second time, and they gained quite a bit on the exchange of punts right here at the outset of the game. They now have it at the Eagles 32. 2nd down and 5. Split back. Up very close to the line of scrimmage are Stanback and Bubba Bean. Bartkowski gives the ball to Stanback, running right, can't cut back, and he is tackled for no gain on the play. Just as he made his cut, the Eagle pursuit was there, led by Frank Lemaster, the middle linebacker, and Bill Berge. Now we're down to 7:45 in the quarter. 3rd down and 6. Rickman is wide, along with Francis. Bartkowski's back to throw, stays in the pocket, hits, throws, complete. It went off the hands of his tight end, Jim Mitchell, who had a chance to catch the ball right at the first down marker. But there was good coverage there by Bill Berge, the linebacker. And now let's see what Atlanta does. It's punting time for the second time today for John James. He'll try to put this one in the coffin corner, and he's been very good at that.
He has a very good average the year around. He's about a 39-yard average. He gets the ball up very, very high.
He thumps this one toward the sideline, bounces inside the 5, and James saw the ball bounce inside the 5, bounced straight up, and then it was down by the Falcons, and now we'll check the flag with the referee, Fred Silver. Ineligible man downfield for 11. They'll have to kick it.
Well, they got a good break. The Eagles did that time by having a man downfield too soon, so they will have to kick the ball over and have another chance at a run back, which I think is a fine break for the Eagles. So far, they've had both of them on a recovery for fumble, and I guess on this penalty right here.
One of the people listening realized that with the preseason games, including the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, this is the 22nd football game of the year for the Eagles. That's neutral games, isn't it?
It's an awful lot of games, Jack, especially when you play on that artificial turf up in Philadelphia. That stuff is really, really tough on you. It's hard falling on as you get the different type of injuries, a lot of sprains of the toes and the ankles. It's a long, long season. I'm sure they're happy to be here, however.
You're not a turf man, huh?
No, I'm not.
John James punting. He'll kick it away from about midfield. John Shira is back waiting for it. It's kicked high by James down near the goal line, and this time it bounces on the goal line, goes into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. So Philadelphia will get the ball for the second time after the James punt. We have 6:58 left in the first quarter. There is no score. Not much to choose from between these two teams, John. Would you expect the winner to go very far in the ensuing playoff game?
Jack, I don't, not really. I think from the winner from here will go, of course, to the next week, and I don't think they'll go any further than that. They're both good throwing football teams, but they're not of the caliber you want to have.
With the score, Atlanta nothing, the Eagles nothing. Let's take time out.
As we said earlier, this is the first time that the Eagles have been in postseason play since they won the championship back in 1960 with Norm Van Brocklin at the controls, and he is at today's game, incidentally, a guest of the Atlanta Falcons, a team he coached. He also had coached earlier the Philadelphia Eagles. The Atlanta Falcons are in their first playoff ever, and they gained the home field advantage because they had the better percentage against common opponents. They had a 5-2 record, while the Eagles were 5-3. The teams had 5 common foes: St. Louis, the New York Giants, Atlanta, Washington, Los Angeles, New Orleans. During the regular season, it's interesting to note, and the reason a lot of people think this might be a low-scoring ball game, Philadelphia allowed only 250 points. That was second only to the great performance turned in by the L.A. Rams, 245, and the Dallas Cowboys, 208, and then Philadelphia was next. And Atlanta was superb, giving up less than 290 points.
From their own 20-yard line, the Eagles go on first down, split back, Hogan and Montgomery. On first down, Montgomery over the right tackle position, moves out across the 25, out to the 28-yard line, gained 8 or 9 yards on the play. Montgomery did. They're not going to stop him all day.
No, they're not. They're a fine football team. That time, Woody Peoples and the offensive tackle, Jerry Sizemore, did a fine job on moving the defensive Atlanta Falcons out of the way. Atlanta was up again, rolling Lawrence up very, very close to the line of scrimmage, just faking the blitz. That time they did not blitz, but the offensive line did an excellent job moving them out.
Montgomery picked up 8.5. It's second down and short for the Eagles. From their own 29-yard line, a long count by Jaworski. The give to the up man, Hogan, tackled immediately. Let's see where his forward progress carried him to. Appears to be about a foot short of a first down. It'll be third down and a foot with Pennywell, the middle linebacker, jamming things up for Atlanta. It's obvious, Johnny Unitas, that both teams feel they're going to win with what they have. They've not done anything untoward, no end-arounds or crazy plays. They're just going to use what they have.
Well, it's early in the ball game yet, Jack. Those types of things have to be set up one way or the other. And both teams, I would feel, as we have seen so far, are going to stay on the ground majority of the afternoon.
Third down and a foot for the Eagles from their own 29. And a first down for Hogan over the left side. He gained 4 yards diving through the hole created by Stan Walters, Wade Key in the center. Guy Morris and Tom Pridemore, the safety man, was the tackler for the Falcons.
That's the first down for the Philadelphia Eagles this afternoon. Hogan and Montgomery, 2 good running backs in that offensive backfield for the Eagles. They complement one another. Hogan a little bit better blocker than what Montgomery is, and I think Montgomery a lot better runner than what Hogan is, although they do an adequate job all the time that they're in there.
From their own 34, Jaworski on first down with the 2 tight ends. Look, pops it outside, and it is caught by the tight end outside the 40-yard line as Richard Osborne hauled it in. And we mentioned before the game started that the tight end against this Atlanta Falcon defense can do some business if he can catch the ball.
They can, and it's a good weapon being used by Jaworski, or Coach Dick Vermeil, who's calling the plays. The quick tight passes, not having Jaworski stand back there too long and have to wait for that blitz. The Atlanta Falcons have a good rushing defensive line, too, even when they don't blitz. So Jaworski must get the ball out quickly.
They stay with the 2 tight ends, Joe Larson and Richard Osborne. Osborne gained 8, second and 2 for the Eagles. And the toss is to Montgomery. Went deep, slipped, and was covered in the backfield. Well, his feet went out from under him on this wet turf, and it's going to be third and long as a result. I was surprised to start with, Johnny, that Philadelphia went as deep with the play on short yardage as they did.
Well, they're moving the football now. Their offensive line is doing a job. They're blowing out the defensive team. You have to get that momentum gone. When these fellas in the trenches, that's where the game's played, Jack. That's where it's all done. All the work is done. The quarterbacks and the halfbacks and receivers, boys, get all the credit, but these fellas do the job in the trenches.
Third down and 5 from their own 39. Will Atlanta blitz? They show a big front. And with the snap of the ball, they're blitzing, and Jaworski pops it over the middle, and it's caught for a first down by Charlie Smith. Down into Atlanta territory at the 46-yard line. And Jaworski unloaded that one in a hurry.
Very good pass protection by the offensive line. Jaworski went back set. Charlie Smith came in about a 15-yard curl. Roland Lawrence was sort of hanging to the outside that time, waiting waiting for the offensive end to come around the corner and did not come in on Smith. And, of course, he picked up the first down.
Another first down for the Eagles, the second of the game, to the Atlanta 45-yard line. The Eagles going from our left to our right. Hogan the up-back, Montgomery the tailback, and on first down. Jaworski with Carmichael and Smith wide, gives to the tailback Montgomery, left side, hit at the line of scrimmage, driven back, no score. No gain at all on that play. He ran into Mike Lewis and Jeff Murrow, playing the right side of the front four for Atlanta. No gain, second and 10. 3:15 left in the first quarter and no score. Montgomery has run the ball 4 times and he's minus 7 yards.
Well, that's a good defensive line by the Atlanta Falcons, also the linebackers. You know, the blitz is not only effective against the pass, but he's more so against that run because the offensive men are not able to get out and get hold of those linebackers before they're able to get in and stop the play.
Second down and 10 for the Eagles. Carmichael left, Smith right. 2 tight ends, Jaworski back to throw, 4-man rush, passes to the outside and through the hands of Montgomery incomplete. Montgomery was being covered by the linebacker Pennywell. Would have only been a short gain on the throw, but Montgomery had to go right through his hands.
The ball was thrown well by Jaworski. It was a lack of concentration, of course, on the receiver out there. We probably would have picked up 5 or 6 yards, Jack, which would give you a little different call now on a 3rd and 10 situation. Second, you get 3rd and 6, then it's your pass run type situation, and it puts a little more pressure on the defense to try to come up with the right call.
Charlie Smith is to the right. Harold Carmichael, all 6-8 of them, is split to the left. And on 3rd and 10, Atlanta shows the blitz again. Jaworski with a long count. The blitz is on. It's picked up well. The pass is thrown deep to Charlie Smith at the 5, and he can't hang on. Incomplete inside the 5-yard line. He was covered by Tom Pridemore, but not covered too well.
Well, he had a step on Pridemore. The ball was thrown rather poorly, I would say, by Jaworski. It was on his outside shoulder. The ball should have been a little longer and inside on his inside shoulder for him to be able to make the catch.
So Philadelphia went for the big one and didn't get it. Mike Michelle will punt, kick it away from about his own 45. And it is Rickman back waiting for it inside his 15-yard line. Billy Rickman of Atlanta. Atlanta's blocked 5 punts this season. Not a very big rush. Line drive kick again by Michelle away from Rickman, and he takes it on the 12-yard line, and he is tackled, smothered at the 13 or 14. Now the ball comes loose. The ball comes loose, and it belongs to Philadelphia. Rickman fumbled the ball, and Philadelphia has it at the 13 or 14-yard line of Atlanta. It was Dennis Frank downfield for the Eagles as Rickman had the ball shaken loose. Diving in to get it was Louis Giamona, I believe.
I believe, Jack, that's the second fumble that he's recovered. He recovered the first one by the Eagles.
Right.
On a punt return, and, of course, came up with this big recovery down here on the Atlanta Falcon 13-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Jaworski. Let's see if he doesn't come out and just try to hit that touchdown right away with a throw.
2:25 left in this scoreless first quarter. And now a timeout is called by Atlanta. Atlanta is called timeout. Don't know the particular reason for this, except that they didn't want to get stung here without having their defense together after recovery or fumbling that punt. Rickman fumbled it. Giamona recovered it. There's a pause in the action, and let us take timeout.
We mentioned earlier that Atlanta had allowed 290 points. Now, that may seem a little high, but keep in mind that in their final game last week, a game that really didn't mean too much to them because they had already clinched a playoff spot with the Redskins having lost a day earlier, Atlanta surrendered 42 points to the St. Louis Cardinals for that balloon to figure up. As a matter of fact, one of the remarkable things about a lot of the teams that are in the playoffs, because of their good defense, particularly the second half of the season, is that the teams that got in, not all of them, but some of them, particularly the wild cards, Atlanta allowed more points than it scored. Atlanta scored 240, allowed 290, yet they're in the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles were pretty close to a 500 mark. They allowed 250 and scored only 20 more, 270. Houston scored 298 during the regular season and allowed 283. So you can see a lot of the teams that made it as wild cards had a very low margin as far as points allowed and points scored. The two teams that had the best points against average were Denver and Pittsburgh, both under 200. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
John, did Rickman do the right thing by handling that punt?
I think he did all right, Jack. It was down in pretty good shape. He picked it up. He eluded one guy. He just did the wrong thing in not holding onto the handle.
First down for the Eagles at the Atlanta 13. Jaworski fakes to Montgomery, back to throw into the end zone, and broken up. Intended for the tight end, Bill Larson, and a fine defensive play was made by Tom Pridemore, the free safety.
Was a good play by Pridemore, but Jaworski should have thrown the ball just a little earlier because the tight end Osborne was open right about 2 steps before Pridemore got there. And of course, he just wasn't quick enough with the football, and as we thought he may go, with Bill Larson rather as the receiver, not Osborne.
And they are using the two tight ends. That presents a problem for the defense center.
Well, it evens up their running ability to both sides. You never have a weak side when you have two tight ends in the ball game.
Second down and 10 from the 13-yard line now. Jaworski threw on first down. On second down, they give us to Montgomery, running right, cutting a back tackle, really checked in the backfield. A loss of about a yard. And Paul Maina, who is in there defensively, the second-year man from San Jose State, almost took his head off.
You're welcome to Atlanta, he thought. He really made a good tackle. Montgomery really came across there. He really was not hit as hard as it looked. His feet really went out from underneath him, Jack. That field, right that one particular spot, is a little damp and a little sloppy.
It's third down and 10 from the 13-yard line. Harold Carmichael's to the right. Charlie Smith is flanked to the left. And on third down from the Atlanta 13, the Falcons show the blitz. The blitz is on, and the pass is caught by Carmichael. Touchdown! They beat the blitz and score.
There was an excellent read by Jaworski because the strong safety was coming up right through the middle, leaving that middle open. The outside back did not take the inside away from Carmichael. When you're 6'8" like he is, you can even throw the ball a little higher.
He broke a tackle at about the 5 and romped in.
He did. And the strong safety came on the blitz, opening up that whole inside secondary, Jack. I kind of questioned that call by the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, me too. Even before the ball was snapped, I was about to say it's a dangerous position in which to blitz. It'll cost you 6.
It most definitely is. You'd rather blitz you when the blitz on the outside field. That time is 3 plays, 13 yards, 56 seconds.
And now Michelle tries to make it 7-0 with Shiro holding. The kick is no good. The kick is no good. And the Philadelphia Eagles were concerned about their place-kicking game, as we told you before the ball was kicked off this afternoon.
And now you see why they're concerned. When you can't make that extra point, it's very, very difficult to make field goals to the 10, 15, 20, 25-yard line outside. 4th and 1. It's the 4th one that he's missed so far this season.
We saw Michelle practicing before the game. He was kicking them through from 42, 45 yards out, kicked one from 50 yards out in practice. I'll be darned if he didn't miss the extra point.
There's a little difference, Jack, and that's called pressure.
There's no pressure in football, is there?
Isn't there?
Well, there may be, but I don't think you knew about it when you were playing.
Stand back in that pocket one time.
The following announcement is brought to you by the National Football League. The official Super Bowl game program will again be a collector's item, and you can be one of the collectors. The program will feature scouting reports on the two competing teams, photos, an art portfolio of Super Bowl record holders, a special feature on the Lombardi Trophy, and the 12-pass Super Bowl ring. You can get a souvenir copy of the book by sending $3 to Super Bowl 13, Winona, Minnesota, 55987. We'll repeat the address. Here's the kick coming to Dennis Pearson. He's across the 20, 25, 30-yard line, and Atlanta has good position after the 21-yard return by Dennis Pearson, who averaged more than 26 yards per kick return during the year. Cleveland Franklin was the Philadelphia Eagle tackler. And let me give you the address again to get that Super Bowl game program. You send $3 to Super Bowl 13, Winona, Minnesota, 55987. That covers the purchase of the book. Postage and handling allows 6 weeks for delivery. And don't forget, you can listen to the Super Bowl here on CBS Radio on January 21st. It is raining again. They give us the Haskell standback. He cuts it back, moves across the 35-yard line, and moves out to the 38. He gained almost 8 yards on the play. Stanback started right, made a good cut.
He made an excellent cut because the Philadelphia Eagles are really moving in the direction of the play, following the guards. And if Atlanta has been doing anything this afternoon, they've been typing themselves as to running to their right the majority of the time, and you're going to get a lot of cutbacks whenever you get the pursuit going that quickly toward the play of the play.
Second down and 3. Stanback again. Bubba Bean couldn't get his block, and Stanback is tackled near the 40 and appears to be, well, looks like he's got a first down. Maybe by just an inch or so. What does your eyesight say?
My eyesight is 20/20, but I can't see the field.
Yeah, we're pretty far away and on a low level, but they're going to measure, and I would guess that he just barely made a first down on the second down carry. We have only 36 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Eagles are leading 6-0, and it is shy by an inch. Shy by an inch of a first down. You won't commit yourself, will you?
No, not unless I know it to be right. This is a good situation, Jack. You've got the second down or third down in an inch, I guess it is. You can, if you wanted to take the gamble, come up with a play-action type pass and then go for the 6. And then on fourth down, come back and go for that first down. That is if you were the gambling type coach.
The Eagles are playing Harrison, Johnson, and Hairston up front. And now they go into a 6-man front. Figuring that Atlanta's going to stay on the ground. They do with Bubba Bean. He hurdles for a first down. Moved across the 40-yard line. Then he was driven back. He was driven back by Bill Berge, by Eric Johnson, the safety man. And another tackler in on the play was Reggie Wilkes, the linebacker. First down, Atlanta. At their own 41-yard line. And that play is going to mark the end of the first quarter. Atlanta is huddling up. But the clock is running down with 5 seconds remaining. Raining here in Atlanta. And that field won't take much rain. It doesn't. It's a grass field. And these players are going to have to contend with some unusual playing conditions. That's the end of the first quarter with a score. Philadelphia 6, Atlanta nothing.
Let's review the standings as how the teams finished. In the National Football Conference this year, Dallas was the Eastern Division champion. They had along with Los Angeles, the best records in the NFC. Dallas, the Eastern champion, at 12-4. Philadelphia at 9-7. Washington, after going 6-0, lost 8 of their next 10, didn't make the playoffs, and finished a disappointing 8-8. And St. Louis and the New York Giants at 6-10.
For those of you, primarily on the American Forces Radio, who do not have ready access to the scores of yesterday and last night, in the Tangerine Bowl, North Carolina State defeated Pittsburgh 30-17. In the Liberty Bowl, Missouri was the winner over LSU 20-15. And in the Sun Bowl, a surprising result. Shame on you, Johnny Unitas from Baltimore, Maryland. Texas 42 and Maryland nothing.
Wait till I get a hold of Jerry Claiborne up there. I might just strangle him.
42-0. That's surprising against a good Maryland team.
That's almost my age.
We start the second quarter here in Atlanta. Johnny Unitas and Jack Buck with you. The Eagles scored with 1:25 remaining in the period on a 13-yard touchdown pass from Jaworski to Harold Carmichael. They beat the blitz of Atlanta, and Carmichael romped into the end zone. What did the stats look like in the first 15 minutes?
Not very good, Jack. The Philadelphia, of course, Atlanta both even with 3 first downs apiece. Rushing yardage is 50 for Atlanta and 0 for Philadelphia. That's a turnaround because offensively Atlanta ended up the season as 12th in the offensive ranks, where the NFC Philadelphia team was 5th. In the 41-yard pass to Philadelphia, 5 for Atlanta. Total yards 41 to Philadelphia, 55 Atlanta.
From their own 41-yard line, Bartkowski back to throw on first down. He gets it to the sideline, and it is caught by the wide receiver Wallace Francis, who caught 45 during the regular season. And he is very close to a first down. They might even have to measure. The sideline markers are always on the other side of the field, aren't they?
They are, and it's difficult to see. Bobby Howard that time was really playing off Francis. He's concerned about his speed plus his footing down there. And field conditions as we're having them right now is kind of slippery. The offense generally has the advantage, especially if you're throwing the football, because the offensive receivers know where they're going, and the defense has to play off just a little more than what they would really like to do.
Philadelphia had their own safety blitz on that time as they came up. The Atlanta came up a foot short of a first down. They were shooting Randy Logan, but he couldn't get to Bartkowski.
Bartkowski took the deep drop. Of course, Bobby Howard, as I mentioned, was playing off of Francis, and which really enabled Howard, or rather Bartkowski, to get the football to him.
Ball is to the 49-yard line of the Philadelphia Eagles. Second down and 1 for Atlanta. Johnny, how do you rate Bartkowski?
Well, I saw him in the early part of the season, Jack, and he was struggling for about the first 4 ball games, and then he got himself banged up a little bit, but he's come off the injury. I think he's progressing quite well. Talking to Coach Cleveland Bennett, he's satisfied with his progress so far.
Here on second and short, he's back to throw, and he airs it out far downfield, and it is intercepted by Philadelphia, and it is going to be run out of the end zone, back out to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, and out of bounds goes Herman Edwards, the cornerback, who made a brilliant one-handed interception on the 2, went into the end zone. He could have downed it back there for a touchback. He acted confused. He didn't know whether he could down it or not, and he ran it back out to the 19.
He wasn't sure. He could have just sat right in the end zone. No one could have touched him. They brought the ball out to the 20. That ball was thrown just as far as Bartkowski could. It's as good as a punt, although you don't like to see the interception at this point because we're back out to the 18-yard line.
That was second and short, John. Second and a foot.
Right, and really, you don't like to see him throw the football that way. It was an interception, easy interception, really, for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, there's the timeout. 14:41 remaining in the half. The Eagles have it first and 10 at their own 19 with the score of the Eagles 6, Atlanta nothing. Let's take timeout.
Continuing our look at the final standings in the National Football Conference during the regular season. Any team in NFL history. They won 8, lost 7, and tied 1. That tie was Green Bay, the team they beat out for the divisional title. Actually, they finished in a tie. Minnesota and Green Bay were both 8, 7, and 1, but Minnesota had won an earlier game, and the second contest between the two finished in a tie, so Minnesota in head-to-head competition got the edge. Detroit was next in line, 7 and 9, but the Lions improved a lot during the last 4 or 5 games of the regular season, and they may be a team to be reckoned with next year. A lot of young talent on that team. Chicago, which had a dismal season, finished 7 and 9. They were figured to do a lot better. And Tampa Bay, John McKay's crew, finished 5 and 11. In the West, no contest. Los Angeles won it easily, 12 and 4 record, and 7. New Orleans 7 and 9. San Francisco 2 and 14.
15-yard line. Hogan and Montgomery in the backfield. And they give it to Montgomery, running right. Hit in the right at the line of scrimmage and driven back. On the play where the ball was intercepted by Herman Edwards, and by the way, he had 7 interceptions during the regular season. Johnny Unitas didn't like the call, and it's not a second guess. It's not just because it didn't work that you don't like it, John.
No, I think the reason I don't like it, Jack, is it was second and about a foot or a yard to go. If you're going to go for the long pass and that kind of a situation, you really have to have something to try to fool people. A play-action type pass and then go off the play-action for the long pass, I can understand that. But just a straight drop back and then say, I'm going to throw it up there, whoever gets it can get it, I think it was a poor call.
No gain on the last play by Montgomery. He's been stymied. It's second down and 10 Eagles. And Jaworski back to throw. A quick out, and it is caught by Charlie Smith. Out to the 26-yard line, making it third down and about 3, confronting the Eagles. With 13:51 remaining in the half, and the clock stopped. Roland Lawrence was the tackler. Lawrence has intercepted 6 this year. On the other corner, Rick Pius has picked off a couple. And Atlanta, for the year, has had only 12 interceptions. That's not very many in the 16-game schedule.
Not really good with that type of defense they have. You notice what type of passes that Jaworski is throwing are the quick outs, the quick passes that he could get off rather than sitting back in that pocket because of the defensive play by the Falcons.
On their own 26, 3rd and 3, Philadelphia. And Jaworski gives to Hogan. Tackled, no gain on the play. Driven back by the swarming Atlanta defense. And the Eagles will have to punt. On 3rd and 3, they try to run it to the short side. They continue to use the 2 tight ends, so it's not weak side, strong side. The side of the 58th defensive end was helped out by Greg Brazina, a very active linebacker.
one of the better linebackers in the game today. He's very, very active. He's good drop, pass drop, getting back into the secondary. And he's also very, very tough on the run, as we just noticed.
Atlanta has blocked 5 punts. Michelle will kick it away. He gets it away, and it's not a very good kick. It is taken on the 46-yard line by Billy Rickman, and Atlanta really wasn't burned too much by the interception earlier in the end zone. That was a 29-yard punt and no return. 13:09 remaining in the first half. There's a timeout on the field with the score. The Eagles 6 and Atlanta nothing.
Jack, the big play so far, of course, has been the blitz by the Atlanta Falcons, where they sent the safety, Carmichael, being able to come in front of the defender and picked up the quick throw by Jaworski, which put them ahead 6-0. Of course, then we were concerned about the Eagles kicking ball game, and you see why when he missed that extra point. It's been a predominantly ground control, conservative type football game so far. I think that possibly Philadelphia's ahead now. They may even try to go on the ground a little more often than what they would do usually. The Atlanta Falcons, with Burkowski, has the ability to throw the football, but they're going to have to get some kind of semblance of attack against a strong Philadelphia defensive football team. Philadelphia gets very, very difficult whenever they have the lead and they can play their type of football, which is hard-nosed type of football. They want to get in and get the thing done.
Surprising figure, Wilbert Montgomery is carried 6 times for -7 yards against this Atlanta defense. Yet the Eagles are leading 6-0 here early in the second quarter. Atlanta has the ball first down at their own 46-yard line. They send Wallace Francis and Alfred Jackson both to the left side. The tight end Jim Mitchell is on the right side. And Bartkowski hands off to Bubba Bean. Couldn't get started. Gained a yard over the right side. Berge, Wilkes, and others drive him back. Some extracurricular activity breaks out involving Phil McKinley and a couple of the Eagles. No gain by Bubba Bean. He didn't get off that ball very well.
No, he didn't. And again, we mentioned the Falcons running again strictly to their right side. They've been doing that all afternoon, and the Philadelphia Eagles were right to the task to stop them. They have not picked up that much yardage. Their offensive football team is doing a fair job against the Eagles on the right-hand side of this line and moving them off. That time to no avail, however.
Now it's a 4-man bunt with Ken Clark checking in for the Eagles. 2nd down and 9 for Atlanta from their own 47-yard line. Bartkowski back to throw. Has time from the pocket to the right sideline. Incomplete. There was coverage there by Bobby Howard against Billy Rickman. Some of the fans thought there was some early contact made, but no flag was thrown. And it's 3rd down and 9. Jim Mitchell is the tight end of Atlanta. He can be a force in the game. He's caught 32 passes this year, but it takes time for a young quarterback to make maximum use of that tight end.
Well, Burkowski's been around long enough to be able to do that. I don't think there are many teams in the National Football League that really throw the ball as often to their tight end as they should, because a good tight end certainly makes up at least 50% of your passing attack.
On 3rd and 9, Bartkowski rolls left, has time. He's rushed, he's hit, he's backed in the backfield, back at the 41-yard line, and a flag goes down on the field. Carl Hairston was in there to get Bartkowski, who had plenty of time but just couldn't find anybody.
He did. He had no pressure whatsoever. He rolled out to his left, but what he does when that happens, when you start rolling right or left, you really limit yourself to one side of the field. And 9 out of 10 times, if you're rolling right or left, your defense is going to rotate towards the side of the field that you're running on, really complicating things, because then you do not have as much room as you would really like to throw the football into.
Fred Silva, the referee, is going to mark off some yardage against Philadelphia. Way down to the 37-yard line. Let's listen. Defense, number 68. Head slap. First down. Head slap. Personal foul against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, it's a big break now for the Atlanta Falcons, who have not been able to move the football this past series. Burkowski getting knocked down, and with one incompletion. Big break for them now. Seems like the momentum may have turned a little bit here, Jet.
Ball is the 38-yard line of the Eagles. And on first down, Jackson and Rickman are both to the left side. Bartkowski, a first down pass. Straight back, pops it off to Bubba Bean, the running back. He's to the 45. He is down to the 38-yard line of Philadelphia, and he picked up 4 or 5 yards on the play. And another flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. Holding against Atlanta. Well, they just get a bad one.
Yeah, and you don't like to see that, especially when you have 15-yard penalty. Certainly penalizes it, or 10-yard penalty rather. Certainly penalizes. Sometimes it's hard to get back. They only had a 3-man rush that time on Bartkowski, and you should be able to hold those people out without holding them.
They've had an awful lot of penalties this year, the Falcons have. Number 73, holding. McKinley, the offensive tackle on the right side, was holding. I guess that goes along with being one of the youngest teams in the National Football League, the number of penalties.
It does. There are a lot of mistakes that are made. A lot of times you miss counts, and in the course of the holding type penalties, you don't want to get your quarterback hurt, so the last minute you grab a jersey in here. But the officials are down, and they normally control it pretty well.
Second down and 20. Bartkowski hits his wide receiver at the 46-yard line, and with the ball goes Wallace Francis for a first down inside the 30, down near the 25-yard line of Philadelphia before John Sanders got him. Francis had really shaken wide open.
Francis caught the same type pass he caught earlier, a little turn in, about 15 yards downfield. Bill Berger that time almost got a hand on the football. Bobby Howard playing off of Wild Francis because of his great speed. He doesn't want to let him get behind him.
So they overcame the holding penalty. Atlanta did, and it's a first down of the Eagles' 25-yard line as the Falcons go from our left to our right. On first down, they give us the stand back, the tailback. He drives down near the 22-yard line and picks up 3 straight ahead. You notice Bubba Bean, and he's had a bad neck. He missed the last regular season game. He just not clearing out with his block.
No, I think he's being a little protective of that neck problem that he's had, Jack. And once he gets, maybe the game gets a little tighter and they can score down here, he might just forget about it altogether and start running with reckless abandon. You just can't be careful when you're an offensive back there. Be careful about doing this. You have to run with reckless abandon. That's the sign of a great back.
From the Eagles' 22-yard line, second down and 7. Bartkowski to Bubba Bean, picks his way over the middle, fumbles the ball. Recovered by Philadelphia. Bubba Bean had gotten down near the 15-yard line. The ball popped loose, and coming away with it was number 26, John Sanders for the Eagles, and who's the pass?
Well, he was hit fairly well, and the ball knocked out of his arms. It's one thing you have to do if you're a back coming through that line. When you're coming through the middle of the line, you're going to have to remember to keep both hands on the football. When you're in traffic like that, you never know where you're going to get hit from. A guy coming up from the side, behind, is liable to put a hand in there. Reggie Wilkes, who was a fine linebacker, number 3 draft choice by the Philadelphia Eagles, came in and knocked the ball loose, and of course a big turnover now for Philadelphia.
10:43 left in the half with the score of Philadelphia 6-0 over Atlanta. Let's take time out.
While San Francisco finished with the worst record in the National Football League at 2-14, and the worst in the NFC as well, of course, the American Football Conference top teams in the Eastern Division, New England and Miami, finished in a deadlock at 11-5, but New England had beaten Miami in head-to-head competition, so they got the nod. The New York Jets, who were an improved ball club during the year with a lot of offensive fireworks, but not much on defense, finished a surprising 8-8. And then Buffalo and Baltimore in the AFC East cellar at 5-11.
Well, the last time Atlanta got down deep into Philadelphia territory, they had a pass intercepted in the end zone. Now they have fumbled on the Philadelphia 15-yard line, and the Eagles go back the other way. And all of us at CBS would like to congratulate Mr. and Mrs. John Unitas, parents of a new 10-pound baby boy, Chad Elliott. That's 7 kids, huh?
Oh, that's 7 of them, right. 6 up boys.
6 boys.
6 boys.
Well, that's terrific. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Dad.
It's the first down for the Eagles from the 15-yard line. Here's Jaworski giving to Montgomery, running right, cutting it back. He is hit after gaining 2 yards on the play. That's all. himself, Montgomery can't get anything done.
Jack on the back like Montgomery, the Atlanta Falcons have to be concerned about over-pursuing. He is a great cutback type runner. Same as Haskell Standback or Bubba Bean. And these are one of the things that they really have to be concerned about when they're starting out to the right. To always have someone following down behind them to pick up the cutback.
They gave Montgomery 3 yards on the play. 2nd down and 7 from the 18 of Philadelphia. The toss is to Hogan, the other back. He comes across the 20-yard line, tackled short of a first down. It'll be 3rd down and about 2. Jeff Murrow was one of the tacklers, and there with him was the linebacker Dewey McClain. 9:50 left in the half.
I can't get over so far that most of these teams seem to be right-handed on just about everything they have been doing, even throwing the football. Montgomery has run, and Hogan both have run predominantly to the right side, as has Haskell Standback and Bubba Bean.
Philadelphia has been very good trying to get first downs on 3rd down. They've made it only 2 out of 6 tries. They have 3rd and a yard and a half from their own 23-yard line. Jaworski tosses to Hogan, cuts it back, gets a first down, moving across the 25, and he is out to the 30-yard line for a Philadelphia first down. Guy Morris, Wade Key, Woody Peoples, Jerry Sizemore, Stan Walters, and the 2 tight ends, Richard Osborne and Bill Larson doing the job. And Greg Brazino, the linebacker, was there to make the tackle. They've been staying away from Brazino's side. On the other side, Kuykendall is a good linebacker also.
They have an array of good linebackers. That whole defensive football team has had a good season. And those fellows will sting you and hit you just as hard as they possibly can.
On first down now, Jaworski, who continues to use long counts, gives to Hogan, pops up the middle, gets only a yard and a half, and he is driven back. Sure that Jaworski is using that time with his long counts before the snap to read that Atlanta defense and try to figure out what they're going to do.
He's trying to pick up that blitz. If he can pick the blitz up at the last second and then change and play the line of scrimmage, he can come up with a very big play, possibly a touchdown, because you have a single coverage back there.
And Unitas told me when he's shoveling the place to the sideline, he likes to get him in there early so you have a little time to adjust to the line of scrimmage.
That's right. Your time should be spent on the line of scrimmage, not in the huddle.
2nd down and 8. From the 32 for the Eagles. Carmichael to the left. Smith the wingback. And Montgomery started right, cuts it back to the 30-yard line, 35, 40-yard line. First down, Philadelphia on the misdirection play. Montgomery took 2 steps to the right and turned and came back the other way. Even Jaworski was trying to block for him, but he's not a very good blocker.
He's a quarterback. He's not supposed to be. There's a play, as we mentioned before, that the Atlanta Falcons getting an awful lot of pursuit once that play starts to the right. Instead of just kind of staying back and playing your position, was pursuing right down that line of scrimmage. And the Eagles taking advantage of the pursuit, started right, came back on a reverse by Montgomery, picked up a first down. It was a fine call.
Recovered the fumble on their 15, the Eagles did. They're now out to their own 43-yard line. Jaworski on first down. Throws it long. Carmichael couldn't make his move as he was being covered by Roland Lawrence. They showed a little square out. Jaworski gave an arm pump, and then Carmichael tried to turn it upfield but couldn't get away.
Well, that's what they tried to do. They ran into the zone over there. Carmichael had a quick out call, as you mentioned. And in those type of situations, Carmichael has to read the zone and make the adjustment. And Jaworski saw the zone, and Carmichael did not read it as well. He was trying to throw it into the dead spot, into the zone, Jack, which they weren't able to do.
Jaworski is 5 out of 9, 1 touchdown, 45 yards, no interceptions, 2nd down and 10 from their own 43 for Philadelphia. Going from our right to our left, Jaworski takes the snap, straight back to throw. Brazino's after him, hits him, backs him in the backfield. Greg Brazino gets the 2nd Atlanta sack of the afternoon. Jaworski never saw him,
and he beat Montgomery. Montgomery was there to pick him up and did a poor job of blocking on him. Whenever you're going to do that as an offensive back, you see the blitz, you want to come up to the line of scrimmage and meet the blitz at the line of scrimmage, not give that defensive linebacker much room to maneuver. The closer you get him to the line of scrimmage, the better off you are. That time, Montgomery did get it.
The ball is now back at the Philadelphia 36, and it's 3rd down and 16. Carmichael's to the left, Charlie Smith flanked right. Atlanta showing the blitz. And they are blitzing, chasing 5 men. The pass over the middle, caught by Carmichael, tackled, no first down. And that was a third down play. Carmichael was tackled by Rick Bias. Bias did the only thing he could do. Let Carmichael catch it and then drop it.
That's right. The mistake Carmichael made was not getting enough yardage for the first down, getting enough depth, get past that first down marker so that if you have to come back to the ball, you have a chance of maybe breaking a tackle, picking it up.
Billy Rickman is back. He has averaged 8 yards per punt return. Michelle kicks the ball. Not too high. Rickman took it on the 23-yard line, 25-30, out to the 35-yard line, and Atlanta has the ball again, trailing 6-0, 5:52 left in the half. Vince Papale was downfield for the Eagles, a 30-yard punt. The kicking game not very good by the Eagles, and a 12-yard return.
They haven't kicked the ball that well. The returns have been pretty good, Jack.
I'm surprised they haven't been better, aren't you?
I am too. It's a little chilly out there. Maybe the ball is just not getting airborne quickly enough or something. I don't know.
But the players and the kickers in this ballpark, which is also used by the Atlanta Braves, where the baseball really rides down here, football players tell me the ball usually carries very well in this enclosed stadium.
Well, it does. And there's no wind factor out there this afternoon, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem.
There's a pause in the action with the score. The Eagles 6, Atlanta nothing. Let's take time out.
In the Central Division of the American Football Conference, Pittsburgh won it easily, and they had the best record in the National Football League. A fine year for the men of Chuck Noll at 14-2, and they had a great year offensively and defensively, scoring 356 points. That was second only to the Dallas Cowboys, 384. And Pittsburgh allowed the fewest points in the National Football League, only 195. Houston was next, 10-6. Then Cleveland at 8-8, and the Browns had a lot of trouble on defense this year, surrendering 356 points, and that was a key to the reason they finished at 8-8. And Cincinnati, which came on strong and won its last 3 ball games, still wound up with a poor record, 4 wins and 12 losses. But keep in mind, they had a lot of problems. Kenny Anderson was injured during the year, and the club was decimated by injuries during the first half of the season to a lot of personnel. Cincinnati at 4-12 in the Central Division cellar.
Johnny Unitas is alongside as we describe the action for you on CBS from Atlanta. Falcons ball, 1st and 10, their own 35. Bartkowski 3 out of 6, 36 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. The wide receivers are Alfred Jackson and Billy Rickman. They're both to the right side. Mitchell, the tight end, is on the left side. The give is to Bubba Bean, trying to come up the middle, nothing doing. He ran into Dennis Harrison, who wouldn't turn him loose. And Harrison is really big. 6'8", 275, helped out by Carl Hairston.
You can hardly miss him. I think that Bartkowski is going to have to start throwing the football on first down just a little more than what he has. I don't know what his percentage is on first down, but he has to loosen them up, Jack. They have not done that good a job against the Eagles so far.
Bubba Bean got 2 yards, and from his own 37, Bartkowski is faced with 2nd and 8. And he's back to throw. The pressure is considerable. He swings it off to Bubba Bean. He's to the 40, makes a move to the 45. He gained good yardage on the play, and he does have a first down. They mark the ball down on the Atlanta 46. It's a first down for the Falcons, with 4:53 remaining in the first half. 6-0 Philadelphia.
I would think he may want to go to a different type of attack, Jack. He's not picking up enough yards on the first down situation, so he may want to get that ball to Sandback or Bubba Bean on some screens on the first down situation, which is a real fine down to screen on.
Rickman and Francis are the wide receivers. Bartkowski, a first down pass, batted down by the safety man, Randy Logan, who was looking right into his face. He tried to get it out to the sideline, trying to get it out to Wallace Francis, but Randy Logan was right on top of it.
Well, we talked about the first play of the ball game, I believe, that Logan was up there as well on a safety blitz, and there he is. There you see him again, right in Bartkowski's face, and not able to get the football off.
If you're going to blitz, you better do something when you get in there.
Oh, please hit someone.
Except the quarterback, right?
Don't hit us. It hurts the next day.
United says. 2nd down and 10. Bartkowski on the running play to stand back. Broken tackle, moved across midfield. He gained good yardage out to the 48-yard line of Philadelphia. Frank Lemaster, the middle linebacker for the visiting Eagles, made the tackle. We're coming to the 4-minute mark remaining in the half. 3rd down and 3 for the Falcons now at the 47 of the Eagles. They alternate their wide receivers. Rickman comes out along with Alfred Jackson. Wallace Francis is the wide receiver. 2 tight ends are in there. Lewis Gilbert with Jim Mitchell. The running play by Atlanta is not enough for a first down as we view it from up here. John Sanders, the primary Philadelphia defender. Stanback was the runner. See what kind of forward progress they give him. He came very close to a first down. And if they didn't make it, John, they might be inclined to gamble with 3:42 left in the half.
It's a good spot to gamble here, Jack. There's no reason why they shouldn't. You know, there's no tomorrow for either one of these teams if they lose.
And Philadelphia is not that explosive.
That's right. It really has not been an offensive football game at all this afternoon. We really didn't expect one. It's conservatism all the way, and both teams playing a very fine defense. And it's the first and 10 for the Atlanta Falcons, so they have control of the football at this point.
Well, that becomes academic. I think this field's a little crooked. I could have sworn it was short a couple of inches, and he made it by an inch. So they don't have to gamble, even if they were inclined to do so. They're now at the Eagle 44.
Well, let's see what they can do on first down now. It's a good time to start throwing the football if they're going to throw it, but make sure they're the right type of passes.
Rickman and Francis fall to the right side. I formation, stand back, carrying the ball up the middle, makes a move, tries to get outside. Got only a couple of yards. The reason you heard the big crowd reaction was that if Stanback had beaten the tackle, he would have had some running room down the side. But he just couldn't turn the corner.
They came out in the I formation that time. I believe that's the first time. And I formation is really good type of a formation to when you have backs like the stand back above a beam to be doing that cutting back off of the blocks by your offensive people.
2nd down and 6 from the Eagle 40. And Bartkowski looks outside, throws outside, and a bad throw incomplete. He intended it for his wide receiver, Al Jackson. But nothing doing. 3rd and 6 comes about. 2:42 left in the half. The only scoring in this game, a 13-yard touchdown pass to Harold Carmichael from Jaworski. With 1:25 left in the first quarter, the extra point was missed, and it remains 6-0 Philadelphia.
The Falcons have to get further downfield from Rossetti, I think, to kick a field goal. They like to come out of this drive with at least 3 points. They prefer 7. But 3, at least put them on the scoreboard.
From the Eagle 40, 3rd down and 6. The Eagles are blitzing now. And the pass over the middle is caught and dropped by Stanback. It would not have been enough for a first down anyhow. An incomplete pass is the call. I don't really know if the Eagles were coming with the blitz or not. They showed it, started it, and then dropped off.
Well, the head came with a pretty good rush. Harrison got to Bartkowski that time and unloaded on him just as he was throwing the football. Kenny Clark, rather. I'm sorry, Mrs. Clark, I apologize. But he did put the boom on Bartkowski, and he was a little slow coming off the field.
Another punt by John James. This will be his 3rd of the afternoon. A low snap. He handled it well, kicked it high. It's well covered by Atlanta, and it bounces out of bounds near the 10-yard line. At the 10-yard line. Fine punt by John James. During the regular playing season, he kicked 25 of them out of bounds inside the 20, and he just put the Eagles back at their 10-yard line. More rain falls, 2:28 left in the first half.
In this situation, I think we can look for the Atlanta Falcons to possibly blitz 2 out of 3 downs down here. They have Philadelphia in a very tight spot against that goal line. They're on the 9-yard line. And I think you'll see them coming to try to stop any type of run or passing situation which might prevail itself here.
Yeah, the Eagles are leading 6-0. They're backed up to their 10-yard line. They probably won't gamble here in this playoff game. They give us to the up back Hogan, and he moves to the 13-yard line for a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 coming up, and we'll probably have the 2-minute warning before we have another snap of the ball. Well, Johnny Unitas and I and all of us at CBS Radio certainly wish a happy Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas to our listeners across the country on CBS Radio and around the world through American Forces Radio. And tomorrow will be the start of both religious holidays, the Christian and the Jewish holidays. We hope that those listening to us right now are safe, warm, comfortable, and have a nice holiday season. Here is the 2-minute warning from Atlanta Stadium down here in Georgia. And we've got a good Guyam here, don't we?
Oh, we got a good Guyam.
As they say in Georgia, it's quite a Guyam. And the 2-minute warning, the officials have called a timeout. So let's take a moment for this message.
And will give us an opportunity to complete our look at the final regular season standings in the American Football Conference. The Western Division champion was Denver with a record of 10-6, and they allowed only 198 points, one of the best defensive records in the NFL during the year. The Orange Crush was at it again, particularly the second half of the season when they regrouped after a rather sluggish first half. Oakland, for the first time in many years, didn't make the playoffs. They finished with 9-7. As did the Seattle team. The Seahawks, a very impressive ball club. Many people are saying Jack Patera may be coach of the year, even though the team didn't make the playoffs. But they came close. Then it was San Diego at 9-7. That's a three-way tie between Oakland, Seattle, and San Diego. And Kansas City in the basement. The Kansas City team, the Chiefs, finished with a poor record of 4-12. Defense was their problem. They allowed 327 on the year. Seattle, an exciting team. They allowed 358, but they sure could put points on the board with 345.
We have 2 minutes left in the half. At halftime, Eddie LeBaron, the general manager of the Falcons, will be a guest here in our booth, along with George Young, a scout for the Miami Dolphins. So don't go away. Second down and 6 for the Eagles. They're at the 13-yard line. The up back is Hogan, moves to the 15-16. It'll be third down and short as the Eagles try to punch it up. Timeout called by Atlanta. They want to stop the Eagles here, get the ball, and have a little time. Now they have, that's the first. Well, that's the second timeout used by Atlanta. They have only one remaining. Earlier, Johnny Unitas said that he didn't think the winner of this game would progress any further in the playoffs. If Atlanta wins, they play at Dallas. If Philadelphia wins, they play at Los Angeles. And I'm inclined to think that if Philadelphia wins this game, they'd have a pretty good chance at Los Angeles on the 31st.
Well, I think that if they do go to win here and go to Los Angeles to play, they certainly are going to have to improve their offensive thinking quite a bit. The Los Angeles Rams have a fine defensive football team, and I, for one, don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles yet are in the class of the Los Angeles Rams.
Later today here on CBS Radio, and those two teams are itchy right now, I'm sure. Houston Oilers and the Miami Dolphins in the Orange Bowl in Miami. John Klein and Jim Kelly are there to describe the action for you. It won't butt up against this game. It'll probably start some 10 or 15 minutes after we're through. It commences at 3:50 Eastern Time as the AFC first-round playoff game of wildcard teams takes place. Houston at Miami. Who do you like there?
Well, I'm inclined to go with Don Shula's Miami Dolphins, although they are pretty well beaten up throughout the season. They have a lot of people that are injured, and I think that Coach Shula has a way of coming up with some outstanding coaching and some outstanding playing by his team in these important games.
You know him pretty well, don't you?
We made him famous in Baltimore, didn't we?
Is that a quote?
Oh, certainly.
That's a quote. It's third down and 2. The Eagles would like to get a first down and keep the ball. At their own 17. A very tight formation with a wingback. Carmichael, who goes in motion, sets up on the other wing. Jaworski on third down, facing a big Atlanta front. Gives the ball to Hogan. Try to get outside. Can't. Tackle for a loss on the play, driven way back inside the 10-yard line. And it's going to be kicking time for the Eagles. Kicking time for the Eagles. 1:45 remaining in the half. Roland Lawrence, Frank Reed, both out of the secondary, led the defensive charge. This will be the fourth punt by Mike Michel.
If you're an offensive or coach for the Philadelphia Eagles and a special teams coach, what do you tell them? You know they're going to be coming to get the football, do everything they possibly can to get back here and block it, and at least force a poor punt.
They'll be coming after this punt, too. The Falcons blocked 5 during the regular season, and the center lifted his head, and Atlanta came roaring, either offside or illegal procedure. It's going to cost somebody 5. Procedure against the Eagles. Now they're going to be back further, and Michel will get the kick away from the goal line. I kind of think the procedure was against the center with a false move.
I think it was, too, and that hurts. Michael had really had a nice kick that time, but Dennis Franks moved his head and, of course, drew the whole Atlanta Falcon team right back across. Well, one back there is a safety man, but Michael really had a fine kick that time.
Now the ball's marked at the 10. Ball start. Illegal procedure against the Eagles, and now Mike Michel is in the end zone. He needs a good snap from Dennis Frank. The Falcons will be coming after it. And we have Billy Rickman out at the Philadelphia 45 waiting for the punt. The snap is low, handled by Michel, and it is not blocked, and Rickman took it at the 38. He called for a fair catch, and then he was hit by a member of the Eagles. A flag is dropped by one official after another official thought. One official thought that the Philadelphia player did everything to avoid him, but another official disagrees and threw the flag, and I think the crowd might have prompted that flag.
I don't know, Jack. I don't know how he did everything to avoid it. He smacked him right in the middle of his wrist.
Yeah, I agree with it. Interference. Fair catch interference. Vince Papale came downfield, and he just couldn't stop. And he ran into Rickman, and Bill Berge wants to know what the call is about. As if he didn't know.
I don't think Papale even saw his hand go up there.
This is a major penalty, 15 yards, moving it to the Philadelphia 25 with 1:07 left in the half. Fair catch interference called by the officials. Fred Silva marks the ball down to the 25-yard line of Philadelphia. Now, the last time they were down here, they fumbled. The time before that, Atlanta had one interception. What's going to happen now? On first down, both receivers to the left side. 3 wide receivers in the game for Atlanta. And Bartkowski rolls left, looks, runs. He's down to the 22-yard line. He gained only a couple of yards, and he was really smothered. Ken Clark got to him. Boy, they love to see those quarterback runs. Timeout, Atlanta. They have no more timeouts remaining, Johnny Hughes.
There's not too many quarterbacks who are going to beat you with a run. Type of quarterback that Bartkowski is, outside of maybe Grogan, who's an outstanding runner with the New England Patriots. Again, Bartkowski rolling to his left limits himself the amount of field he can throw the football in. And, of course, that dictates the coverage right away. Once you start rolling, 9 out of 10 teams will roll up to that zone on that side toward the roll, and you really don't have that much area to throw the football in.
Well, they're now out of timeouts. The Falcons are, and they're down to the 22-yard line of Philadelphia. I bet they wish they had one timeout remaining, because even though they could afford to run the ball maybe once, surely once, and maybe twice, then they'd really put themselves up against the wall.
Well, they're going to have to call 2 plays in a huddle, and to be able to keep this ball moving and let the clock run. Of course, that's going to happen. And if you get into a situation where you come up with a 4th down or a 3rd down and say maybe 8, you almost have to throw the football away to stop the clock to get the field goal team in, Jack.
Johnny, you were so good in that 2-minute period at the half and at the end of the game, and I know you're not going to play Mr. Humble with me, because you really worked very hard at being good during that time period.
Well, it's part of our work. We worked at it every day, at least once, twice a week, and we had things on that we knew we wanted to do, and we just had control of the game at that time. And I think most teams who control that part of the football game can come out winners in a lot of close ball games.
2nd down and 7, Atlanta from the Eagles 22. Back to throw, Jaworski looks, throws to the sideline. It's caught by Mitchell, the tight end. Out of bounds at the 18. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for Atlanta, and they have 48 seconds left in the half as Mitchell was being covered by Bobby Howard.
And Bill Berge hit Bartkowski that time, and Bartkowski's a little slow getting up off the ground. There's a situation now where Mitchell took the pass, went out of bounds, stopped the clock. Now he can come back in and call 2 more plays and not really be concerned about the clock in this situation. It's 2nd down now. 3rd down, and he's got to come up with a big play here to pick up that 1st down. You have to figure he's going to throw the ball through the outside.
3rd down and 3. Of course, they have some speedsters on the team. Wallace Francis, most notably, and you play him too tight on the corner, and he'll get you.
You'll get it goodbye, I'll tell you that.
Francis is to the left, Rickman to the right, Bartkowski back to throw. Fake short, throws it to Mitchell. Out of bounds, bobbling the ball. Did not have possession, and he went out of bounds inside the 5. The ball was thrown behind him, and it turned Mitchell around. A very awkward excellent catching position. And now it's 4th down and field goal time for Tim Mazzetti, who wore the Philadelphia uniform in preseason. And what a hero he has been down here in Georgia.
Oh, he's won 3 or 4 ball games for them in the closing seconds of the ball game. He's been just absolutely perfect for them all season long. We're going to get a chance to look at him, see what he can do here. He was a former Philadelphia Eagle player, and Dick Vermeil talked Lehman Bennett into picking him up after he was released.
James holds it. Mazzetti kicks it. It's no good. It's no good. And so that bad pass, and I have to call it that by Bartkowski, kept the Falcons from continuing a touchdown drive, made them try a 37-yard field goal, and Mazzetti missed it, and the Falcons are still blank with 44 seconds left.
Well, he hit that one low and hooked it to the left. He didn't get the ball up in the air. It looked like it may have had a slightly bad snap coming back.
Yeah. He came over the top.
Right, he sure did, and we certainly did like to do that. That's what it is. You get up that way.
Done that on the golf course a few times. Too much right hand. Now the ball's at the 20. The Falcons have no timeouts remaining. The Eagles probably will be content to sit on the ball. They lead 6-0. They'll get the second half kickoff. And Jaworski calls the play and hands off to the up back, who is Hogan. And the ball almost came loose, believe it or not, on that simple dive play. And the clock runs, and Atlanta will not be able to stop it.
Quarterback in this situation has to keep reminding his offensive people about the time and where they are on the field, and they keep 2 hands on the football. Let's not drop it down here. We're ahead 6-0. We've got the second half to play. We don't want to give anything up.
They won't even snap the ball again. They have time on the 30-second clock. 15 seconds, 12 seconds left in the half. Clock running. This intermission is going to find a score of 6-0. And a 13-yard touchdown pass to Harold Carmichael with 1.5 remaining in the first quarter. Raining very hard in Atlanta right now, and the crowd here is disappointed. The first playoff game ever for their Falcons, and the first 30 minutes have gone by. Their team has been blank. There's the gun sounding the end of the first half with a score. The Philadelphia Eagles 6, the Atlanta Falcons nothing.
The following week. Thanks for coming by, Dad.
Thank you, John.
Once again, the score at halftime is Atlanta 0, Philadelphia 6. Well, we're back here at halftime, and the rain is continually coming down on the field. I'm sure it's going to make for a real muddy football field and a muddy football game later this afternoon, Jack.
You know, John, everybody feels that Atlanta outplayed the Eagles, although they trail 6-0 at this time. And this rain and the muddy field will help Bartkowski if he's playing that catch-up football game. It should.
Well, if he's throwing the football, certainly the advantage is to the offense because of the receivers know exactly where they're going. The defense has to play off a little bit more than what they would like to do, and they're able to throw the football. If they're able to throw the football, I think you'll see Atlanta do something well.
Here's the kickoff by Mazzetti. It's taken by one of the up men on the 10, 15, 20, and the Eagles come out across the 30-yard line. 30 more minutes of football remaining. Score 6-0 at the half. The Eagles leading, and right now it is raining harder than it has rained since early morning here in Atlanta. The Eagles have the ball back at their 35-yard line, and they can't sit on it here, John.
No, they have to get across the goal line. It's 6-0. They can tie it with 2 field goals, and if they get touchdown, the extra point will put them ahead. The Eagles have to generate more offense than what they've shown in the first half.
It is Hogan and Montgomery in the backfield. A long count to give to Montgomery. He makes a good cut and moves out to the 41-yard line. I'm sure it's been a frustrating game for Montgomery thus far. With a few yards that he has gained, his longest gain has been 11 yards. He's had 7 yards net, that's all.
He had 8 attempts and 7 yards, which is not a very good day for Montgomery, but you have to give the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons credit, and also those linebackers who are really shutting things up on the front of the line of scrimmage.
Tom Prydmore, the safety man, made the tackle at the 41 after a gain of 6 by Montgomery. On 2nd down and 4, another long count, and Montgomery again, nothing. Started right, tried to cut it back, and there was nothing there. Jeff Yates, the defensive end, went in underneath, and he really jammed that play.
He jammed up, they've been doing that all afternoon, and the defense is playing tremendous football. As noticed, Montgomery's not been able to break loose to gain any yards. He did pick up a few yards, and one trick play they had was a start to the right, came back on a reverse, and picked up about 11 yards, as we mentioned earlier, but he's lost a lot of yardage all day long.
No gain that time. 3rd and 4 Eagles from their own 41. Going from our left to our right here in the third quarter of the game. Will Jaworski pass? The up rolls right, pops it out, and it is incomplete. It was bobbled around. Clydemore was there defensively. And the Eagles, Montgomery, couldn't come away with it. Had one hand on it. But it's kicking time, and they were very conservative. 2 runs and a pass.
That's right.
And they're paying for that, John.
And they saw the blitz coming. Jaworski could have looked over here at Roland Lawrence. He was down in the 3-point stance, and he was coming all the time. And the type offense,
them out.
He was. And the type offense they've shown with a double tight end in there certainly tells the defense it's going to be a running afternoon for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mike Michel will get it away from his 30. There's no pressure. Billy Rickman is back. A fair catch is called for by Atlanta, and it was the running back Strong. Ray Strong stepped right in front of him and took the ball away. Only a 25-yard punt. The Eagles are winning 6-0 despite a poor kicking game, a poor try on the extra point, a miss there, bad punting. The Falcons have had good field position. They're back at their own 34 as they get the ball for the first time in the second half. With the score, Philadelphia 6-0 over Atlanta. Let us take time out.
Well, Missouri coach Warren Powers had his answer quickly Saturday, and it was that LSU left the field with some doubts about its ability to stop his Missouri Tigers. Powers is openly concerned about his team's sharpness going into Saturday's Liberty Bowl with the LSU Tigers, since his 15th-ranked Tigers had been idle for more than a month. But all the questions of rustiness were answered to his joy when his club took the opening kickoff, drove 75 yards for a touchdown, and then won in a good ball game, 20-15. Missouri, which finished 8-4, was sparked by sophomore running back James Wilder, the game's most valuable player, with 115 yards rushing. And they rolled to a 20-3 halftime lead, but then saw 18th-ranked LSU come back behind the running of second-team All-American tailback Charles Alexander, who eventually outgained Wilder 133 yards on 24 carries. The sophomore quarterback Bill Bradley connected on 11 passes for 117 yards and did a great job directing the Mizzou Tigers' attack.
Johnny Unitas, it's obvious that both clubs have to generate a little more offense for their own benefit here. The Falcons to catch up, the Eagles to solidify their lead. The question is either club capable of generating an offense?
I think they are if they go out and start throwing the football and pass protecting, but I don't think they're going to generate much by keeping the ball on the ground. They're not fooling each other.
Ball is at the Atlanta 34, first down. Standback runs over the right side on a slant, moves across the 35-yard line, and got only a couple of yards with Bubba Bean leading the way, and the blocking on the right side by Thielman and McKinley, the center, Jeff Van Note, and Carl Hairston, the tackler. And the Eagles would be happy if Atlanta just keeps playing like this, wouldn't they?
Well, they certainly will. And I don't see that coming out in the second half that they coming out and doing the same thing they had done in the first half. I think they have to open the ball game up, Jack. I think they have to throw the ball on first downs. I think Forecastic has to go to the screens and the draws and throw the ball downfield and not be concerned about what happens.
Standback got 3. Bartkowski's back to throw. Looks, throws, pops it off to the short man, Bubba Bean. He gained about 5 more yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3 as he was blasted immediately by Bill Berge, but first by Reggie Wilkes. Rookies play a big role on both of these teams. Wilkes in particular with Philadelphia.
Reggie Wilkes, of course, was a good draft choice by the Philadelphia Eagles when the new coach now. I even forgot what his name is. Gets so exciting. Dick Vermeil came in. He didn't have too many draft choices, but that was his number 1, and he's proven to be a good one. Funny, he's out with a
3rd down and 2. Standback running, hit by Berge again, and driven back without getting the first down. It wasn't Berge, it was Harrison, Dennis Harrison, the rookie out of Vanderbilt, who walked right in and took over.
I just can't believe they continue to run that right side of their offensive line, running at the Philadelphia Eagles' left side. They have gained some yardage over there, but nothing real large. And I just don't agree with their type of calling the game the way they're doing. It's very, very conservative. You have nothing to lose here outside, of course, if you don't win, you don't go next week.
Here is James handling a low snap from center, getting the kick away. A poor kick, and it goes out of bounds, and the Eagles will get it at their 40-yard line. You know, a lot of people will say when you're trailing 6-0, it's too early to open up. Man, it's never too early.
You should have opened up the first play of the football game rather than sit there and trying to wait for someone else to make the mistakes. I think if you're going to play offensive football, you have to go out and take the bull by the horns and just go after it. Yeah.
John James did a very good job after getting a low snap from center of getting the ball away. It was almost blocked by Philadelphia's Cleveland Franklin. It went out of bounds on the Philadelphia 40-yard line, and the Eagles get the ball for the second time in the Wait, Osborne, the tight end, had carried Pridemore, the safety man, with him, and there was a pretty good rush on the quarterback.
But he had plenty of time to throw. It was just a poor throw by Jaworski, overthrowing Osborne, who really had about 2 steps on Pridemore going across the field. If he'd have gotten that ball to him, it could have been about a 10 or 15-yard gain.
Pridemore had missed the tackle.
Hello. I'll see you in L.A.
It's 3rd and 8. 4 out of 10 tries, Philadelphia has made a first down on 3rd down. Only 4 out of 10. Atlanta shows the blitz again. And the blitz is on. It's late getting there. Jaworski throws it, and it is caught inside the 5. 1st and goal. Charlie Smith caught the ball. 1st and goal for Philadelphia. At the 2-yard line. They beat the blitz again.
They beat the blitz. The protection, everything was fixed up. Jaworski had plenty of time to throw. A gain of 26 yards. Charlie Smith making a fine reception on the throw.
To the 2-yard line of Atlanta. Now with 9:11 left in the 3rd quarter, and the way Atlanta has been playing, if Philadelphia scores here, this afternoon might be over.
Well, they're going to have to come back. They're not going to be able to stay on the ground, Jack. They're going to have to come up and make those points up some way.
Philadelphia has called timeout here. They want to make sure on this scoring opportunity. 8:52 left in the 3rd quarter. A timeout on the field with a score. Philadelphia 6 and Atlanta nothing.
Well, they're doing something here now, which I just like seeing actually, with the calling a timeout, and of course they are ahead by 6 points. They don't give the quarterback the use of that down in the time, actually, in the latter part of the ball game, the last 2 minutes, which I think is so important to have. Dick Vermeil, where you were talking about this yesterday, Jack, in the press conference about his 2-minute offense, and he was the first one to admit that he has not done a good job teaching and working that 2-minute drill or teaching the 2-minute offense, which I feel is so important. I think a lot of coaches do. He admitted he hasn't done it, and he said it's going to be one of his prime things that he does next year, coming back into early training camp and taking that 2-minute offense and working with it. On the 2-minute offense, you know that the quarterbacks are the guys that are supposed to be calling the plays, and Coach Vermeil said that the quarterback will call the plays when it gets to be a 2-minute offensive time.
First and goal for Philadelphia. They have marked the ball down at the 2-yard line of the Falcons. Don't forget, if Atlanta wins, they go to Dallas Saturday. If Philadelphia wins, they go to Los Angeles Sunday. And the other team, of course, to be considered, the Minnesota Vikings. A very tight formation. 2 tight ends. Carmichael is the wing back. Hogan and Montgomery in the backfield. Jaworski gives to Montgomery, and he did not get in. He got down to about the 1. And it's going to be second down. In fact, he's inside the 1-yard line, right to the goal line. Clock running, 8:35 left in the third quarter.
It certainly would help the Falcons' morale if they can hold the Philadelphians out of the end zone, but it's that short yardage to go. It's not quite likely with those type of backs the Eagles have.
Carmichael was confused. He finally ends up on the wing on the right side. Second and goal. Jaworski gives the ball to Hogan. Hurdles. Did not get in. It'll be third and goal. He got just to the goal line. Tried to go up over the top, but couldn't do it. It's going to be third down. You know, when the ball is inches away from the goal line, by the time the center gets over the ball, the quarterback behind the center, a handoff to the running back, he's about 2.5 yards deep.
That's right. Normally down this kind of a situation, you'd think they'd run that quarterback sneak and let him sneak it right on in there.
Is that what you do right now?
Well, I would. Yeah, I think, it's tough to keep a quarterback out. Actually, all he has to do is get up over top of the center's head. He's got 6 points, doesn't he?
They'd have to settle for 3 if they don't get it here. Third and goal from the goal line for Philadelphia. Montgomery hurdles, got it. Touchdown, the ball came loose. A touchdown for Philadelphia. The ball came loose, but the touchdown had already been called, and Philadelphia leads 12-0. Atlanta argues about it, but it's obvious that they're unaware of the rule. If you have the ball and you break the plane, it's a TD.
Doesn't make any difference what happens once the ball goes across the goal line, Jack. It's 6 points for the Philadelphia Eagles. The lead now 12-0, and we will have the man who puts excitement into the extra point coming in to kick it, Michelle.
A 1-yard plunge by Montgomery with 7:36 left in the third quarter. Shiro holds the ball, and the kick is good, and that makes the score 13-0, but a flag is down. The flag has been thrown. The rain has abated somewhat here. We got a holding call against Philadelphia. Holding against Philadelphia. They're going to have to kick it over from further back. They went 60 yards in 7 plays, and I'll say this for the Eagles. They earned it. They opened it up, didn't they?
They did. It's something we talked about in the first series of downs. They're going to have to open the game up, and they did. They started throwing the football, caught the Falcon defense again in a blitz. Fine protection, fine pickup by the offensive backs in the backfield. And, of course, the offensive line doing an extremely good job. Jaworski getting the football down in the corner to Charlie Smith.
Now the kick will be 29 yards for the extra point. We seldom see holding on an extra point. We saw it then. Shira gets it down, and it is good. A line drive went knuckling through the goalpost. Looked like Hoyt Wilhelm.
Oh, brother. They almost had to have the big glove to catch it with.
7:36 remaining in the third quarter, and now the score. Philadelphia 13 and Atlanta nothing. Let's take time out.
Some other college notes. Georgia Tech football coach Pepper Rogers says running back Eddie Lee Ivory will miss Monday's Peach Bowl game against Purdue. Rogers says Ivory has not recovered from an ankle sprain suffered earlier this month. Ivory set a Georgia Tech rushing record this season with 1,562 yards. Taking Ivory's place for Tech in the Atlanta game will be Bucky Schamberger. And, of course, Ivory, earlier in the season against the Air Force Academy, has set an all-time NCAA rushing record for one game, well over 350 yards. Michigan coach Bo Schembechler expresses concern over a lack of healthy tailbacks for the Wolverines' upcoming Rose Bowl game against Southern California New Year's Day at Pasadena. Schembechler says none of our tailbacks are healthy. Harlan Huckabee is running number 3. Roosevelt Smith and Butch Woolfolk are 1 and 2. Huckabee missed the Ohio State game in November with a groin injury and a twisted left knee. If he doesn't start, that could hurt the ball club against the Trojans.
Pearson, Strong, and Franklin wait for the kickoff from Mike Michel. With Pearson in the middle. He ran one back, 100 yards for a touchdown against St. Louis last week. And he has averaged more than 26 yards per kick return. Michel boots it. It's high. Rather deep, taken on the 3 by Pearson, up the middle to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, going left, breaks the tackle across the 25, and he's out of bounds at the 28-yard line of Atlanta. Papali was downfield to help with the tackle made primarily by Orrin Middlebrook, a 27-yard return. And the Falcons trail 13-0, and they have no choice now.
The Falcons need a big play here to get back on the football game, and Burkowski certainly is capable of doing it. Let's see whether or not the head coach is going to let him open the football game up or not.
And that, of course, is Lehman Bennett. On first down out of the I formation with Bean and Stanback, Bartkowski back to throw. Stands in the pocket, and then he is sacked. He is sacked by Philadelphia's Ray Phillips, the linebacker. The second time today that the Atlanta quarterback has gone down. He certainly had time to throw.
He had time to throw. Philadelphia crossed him up that time. Instead of going to their regular type zone, they went to a double zone, which means that both outside people were double covered, and that the Berge had to cover big Jim Mitchell, the tight end, all the way downfield, and he was right with him. Bartkowski didn't have anywhere else to go.
Berge did a good job.
He did an excellent job.
A loss back to the 19-yard line, and it is second down and 20 on the 19 for Atlanta. Philadelphia with that 3-man front. The blitz is on for Philadelphia. Bartkowski drops it off to Stanback. Outside the 20, breaks the tackle, gets to the 25, and then he is brought down. Stanback moved the ball out to the 25 for a gain of 6. It's going to be third down and 14 for Atlanta. Ball at their own 25-yard line. 6:51 left in the third quarter.
Well, you have the big loss like that on a first down. It's tough to come back with it. He's got about 13, 15 yards now to pick up the first down. It's got to be a big call for him. Doesn't want to do anything silly like throwing an interception at this point. But everything's been in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they have earned it. They've made it work.
Rickman is to the left. Francis to the right. Bartkowski drops back to throw. Looks right. Forward pass incomplete. He was hit just as he threw the ball. And getting in there was Carl Hairston. The Atlanta fans don't like it, as they're going to have to kick for the 5th time this afternoon.
He's actually going to have to put 2 men on Harrison. If he's giving the offensive tackle that much of a problem, he's got to keep a fullback in there, a halfback in there, and just tell him to key on Harrison and help out that offensive tackle. Harrison has been in there 2 or 3 times and caused an awful lot of damage to that passing attack. And it's taken just a little bit longer for Burkowski to get rid of the football than what does for Jaworski.
James kicks it to Shira. He takes it on the 37, runs left, flips, dives across the 40-yard line, and the Eagles will again have good field position after a 37-yard punt and a 4-yard return. 6:34 remaining here in the third quarter, and the Eagles will start from their own 42-yard line. There's a pause in the action with the score. Philadelphia Eagles 13, Atlanta nothing. Let's take time out.
Football players at Boise State in Idaho are very unhappy with the sanctions taken against their school by the Big Sky Conference. The players have asked the Big Sky Council of Presidents to hold a special hearing in January. Boise State's football team has been penalized by the conference for an illegal scouting effort made by Coach Jim Kreiner. Under the sanctions, the team is now ineligible for conference championship play next season. Well, the Atlanta Falcons are going to have to start generating some sort of an offense, or this game is going to be over in a hurry.
a long time since the Philadelphia Eagles have been in the playoff, and the first time ever for Atlanta.
It has been the last time the Eagles were in 1960 when the Falcons' former coach Van Bropton was at the helm playing quarterback for them in Philadelphia. It's quite a band. They did quite a job at that time. I guess the last winning season was in 1966 when Baltimore Colts played them in the not overtime, but the second game playoff down in Philadelphia. And at that time, Sonny Jurgensen was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Again, from all of us at CBS Radio, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to you and your family. Those of you listening across the country are on CBS Radio and overseas on American Forces Radio. First down, Philadelphia. From their own 41-yard line. Here's a quick pass to Carmichael on a screen that didn't form. He's tackled for a loss. And it was Jeff Yates, the defensive end, who fell off, saw the screen, and nailed it.
Read the screen very, very well. Went out there and got Carmichael. That's the first screen that's been thrown all afternoon by either team. Not very successful at that. So you have an outside receiver like Carmichael. You like to get him the football. That is just one particular way in which you can get it without going downfield on a pass. Defensively, the Falcons, I think, are playing well. Jack, they just got caught in a blitz situation twice and have been taken advantage of by
Jaworski from his 40, second and 11, back to throw. Looks for Carmichael, hits him inside the 50-yard line, a first down Philadelphia to the 43-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Frank Reed had the tough job of bringing down the 6'8" Harold Carmichael, who weighs 225. They haven't used him very much today, but they're burning the Falcons with him now.
Just a quick turn in on Ronald Lawrence, who is playing off Carmichael. He does have some pretty good speed, and Lawrence, with the bad footing out there in certain areas, has to be careful not to get too close on him. He goes right on by him.
First down from the 43-yard line of the Eagles. Hogan and Montgomery in the I formation. Carmichael to the right. Charlie Smith is to the left. Now split backs, and a quick pass out here is incomplete. It was intended for the tight end. The wide receiver came in, and the tight end Osborne went out. But Jaworski's throw was off target. You see so many quarterbacks having difficulty with that little slant pass, John, and you did it so well. Is it difficult to throw?
It's one of the more difficult passes to throw because it's at a difficult angle, especially the offensive receiver must take a step downfield to gain a little bit of ground and then give you a little bit a better target to throw at. If he doesn't do that, then you're throwing right over the defensive end and makes it quite difficult.
How's Jaworski doing?
He's 10 for 17 for 118 yards, 1 CD, no interception, so he's playing well.
Second down and 10 from the 43 of Atlanta for the Eagles. Again, the long count. Jaworski, a quick drop. The pass to the tight end is caught, but for a gain only of about 4 yards. Pridemore, the safety man, was right on top of Osborne, and it's going to be third and long for Philadelphia. Richard Osborne, a third-year man in his fourth year now, out of Texas A&M. Good size, 6'3", 230, but caught only 13 passes prior to today.
Well, not extremely good pass receiver, but he's in there because of Prefley, who was out. Prefley's a much better pass receiver, and Osborne has been doing a creditable job, and they're happy they had someone to replace Prefley.
Third down and 6 for the Eagles from the 38-yard line of Atlanta. Eagles leading 13-0. Jaworski back to throw outside and caught by Charlie Smith for a first down at the 29. An excellent catch by the backpedaling Charlie Smith.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack, if they're going to continue doing playing, they're going to have to get closer to these receivers and put a little bit more pressure on Jaworski. He's getting rid of the ball very, very quickly, and it makes it difficult for those defenders to stay off of a man that far. And if they're going to do that, they're going to have to play a little tighter. Smith so far has 5 catches for 73 yards. The big one was down on the 2-yard line again against the blitz.
Pretty good drive for Philadelphia. 4:08 remaining in the third quarter. We're at the 29-yard line of the Falcons now. On first down, Hogan carries the ball for one of the few times over the left side. 2 yards, maybe 3. Jeff Yates jammed it up. He's playing up front with Jim Daly, Mike Lewis, and Jeff Morrow, and Robert Pennywell, the middle linebacker, finished off the play. A gain of 2, second and 8. But if the Eagles get in here now, You'd hate to have Atlanta's chances, wouldn't you?
I certainly would. They're going to have to throw the football, and they have not been very successful at it. Burkowski, as we mentioned, does not release the football as quickly as Jaworski does. He takes a little bit more time, and his defenders have been running a little deeper pattern.
All right, the Eagles are now at the 27-yard line of Atlanta. Second down and 8. And Jaworski's back to throw. He looks, he throws it away. He throws it away over the sideline. He saw the double coverage on his tight end, Osborne, and simply threw it away as Jeff Murrow and Jeff Yates put the pressure on him.
I said he put the pressure on him. They knocked him to the ground.
That's pressure.
That's pressure enough. Jaworski did the right thing. He concentrated primarily on the right side, and he could have come back and gone to Carmichael on the left side, who was open after the defensive back came up to pop him.
Third down and 8. Eagles take Montgomery out. Carmichael and Smith are the wide receivers. Running now for the first time is Billy Campfield, the rookie out of Kansas. Campfield in the backfield. The give is to Hogan, and he ran by a tackler, gained about 1.5 yards, and was really driven back. So it is fourth down. Now, Michelle has very long range, but he is not consistent from way out. The line of scrimmage is the 25. 35 would be a 42-yard attempt, trying to make it 16-0. And even this would help seal the fate of Atlanta.
Well, they're going to give him a shot at it.
42 yards. Michelle attempting it. From center is high. Shira gets it down. The kick is going to be short and no good. Short and no good. So the Falcons are still in it with 2:41 remaining in the third quarter, and the score is 13-0. Philadelphia. The ball will come out to the line of scrimmage. The last line of scrimmage. So the Falcons will start at their 25. Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and the Cougars of Houston will get after their practice in earnest. They'll be the opponents in the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. Connie Alexander and Tom Hedrick will describe the action from Dallas on CBS Radio at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Bartkowski, a first down pass. Screens it. It's caught by Bubba Bean across the 25 to the 30, 35, 40-yard line, and more. To the 44 goes Bubba Bean on the screen.
All right, Jack, that's what we talked about, that he's going to have to mix the attack up earlier. Go to those screens and those backs and those straight drop back type screens and get the defenders coming in on you and then just drop it over top of their heads. There you saw a perfect example of it. Those who are watching TV saw it anyway. We're up here describing it. It was a fine call and the first time today that Burkowski has used the screen.
Bubba Bean, number 44, went to his 44-yard line. First down for Atlanta. On first down to give to the tailback, stand back, cuts it up the middle, goes to midfield. Fumble. And a ball, and it is picked up by Philadelphia. Stand back, fumble the ball, and the Eagles end up at the Atlanta 35.
The ball was knocked right up in the air as he was going through the line, and one of the Eagle players picked it right out of the air and advanced the football down the field as we have a big play at the fourth turnover for the Falcons, none for the Eagles.
The Eagles end up on the Atlanta 35-yard line. Oh, just when it looked like the Falcons had a little momentum going for them with a screen pass, which moved out to their 44. Stand back on the very next play, fumble. How many turnovers for
the fourth turnover for the Falcons, Jack, and the Eagles have played it very well. They have none.
And a first down at the Atlanta 35. The give is to the tailback, and a fumble, and Atlanta gets it right back. It was Campfield, and he was really thrilled. He fumbled, and Atlanta came away with the ball. It was Kuykendall, the linebacker, who got it.
Just as we opened our big mouth to say how well Philadelphia was playing, holding the football. Up jumps the old mystery, dropped the football. He was really, really hit hard. And now Atlanta has the ball back again with an opportunity to see if they can't move it across that goal line.
On the exchange of fumbles, they only lost 6 yards, so the Falcons are in good shape at their own 38. wide receivers to the right. Mitchell, the tight end, is on the left side. Bartkowski back to throw. He screams it to Bubba Dean. He gets it, and he is tackled at the 31-yard line, and a flag is down. And that wasn't a very good-looking play.
No, it wasn't good at all, Jack. It was pressured down there by Edwards, who cornerback was coming in. No one touched him. He had to get rid of the football a lot quicker than he really wanted to.
And a holding call on top of that. It probably will be declined. There was a loss on the play, a substantial loss of about 7 yards. And the referee, Fred Silva, is talking to Bill Berge, the defensive captain, giving him his option. Clock is stopped with 1:39 remaining in the third quarter. Johnny Unitas is alongside, and I'm Jack Buck. And the score is 13-0 in favor of the Eagles over Atlanta here in the third quarter. Now they're going to mark off the holding and move the ball all the way to the 23 of Atlanta.
I think that's a smart call by Berge to take the penalty. It moves them back. Their offensive team has not been doing much.
They declined the holding call, Philadelphia did, but there was also a clipping call against Atlanta, and they accepted that, and therefore the ball is all the way back to the 23-yard line. It's first down and 25 for Atlanta. Stanback goes in motion. The fake is to Bubba Bean. The pass to Stanback, and he's in trouble. He had two defenders on him, and he dived forward for about a yard. Boy, he drew some attention over there when he went in motion. The crowd doesn't like the way the Falcons are trying to overcome this deficit. And Bobby Howard really covered the play well.
They're not moving the football in the right direction. They're just going back and forth there. They should be going downfield with the football. You know, screens are fine, but they have to be a surprise type thing. And I'm sure that the way the Eagles played that, they must have scouted that play extremely well.
Second down and 25 for Atlanta from their 23. No gain on the last play. And Bartkowski looking at a blitz. The blitz is on. Bartkowski's back to throw. He gets rid of it, and it is caught out of beyond the 30-yard line by Mitchell, the tight end. He is brought down immediately on the 34, and it is going to be third down and long. Third down and 14.
Harrison again had a shot at Bartkowski just as he was throwing the football. Steve was able to get it off, and Harrison popped him just as he was releasing it, so it was not a penalty, and he's taking his lumps this afternoon.
Only 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The ball is at the Atlanta 35. The Falcons have it. It's third and 13. Rickman is to the left. Francis, the wide receiver, is flanked right. On third down, it's a four-man rush by Philadelphia. Bartkowski hit as he throws, incomplete. Getting in on him for Philadelphia was Dennis Harrison, and the gun sounds, ending the third quarter. When we resume, it'll be kicking time for Atlanta. Only 15 minutes left, and the Falcons are fighting the dust here this afternoon. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Eagles 13 and Atlanta nothing.
Cleveland Browns owner Art Modell is upset with an article in a recent edition of the NFL Players Association newsletter. The article says Modell, as owner of the Cleveland Stadium Corporation, has shortchanged the financially troubled city in rents and bond debts. And the story, which first appeared in the Ohio Magazine, claims Modell has made a profit from stadium rental to the Cleveland Indians. Well, through a letter written to the magazine by his general counsel, Modell calls the article inaccurate and misleading. The counsel says the stadium has been operating at a loss.
15 more minutes of football coming your way. The preceding message by the Education Commission of the state has been brought to you as a public service on behalf of the NFL. The beach ball is going to be played here tomorrow. That's Purdue and Georgia Tech. The playing field won't be in very good shape for the collegians, will it?
They're going to have to get a helicopter down here and just kind of blow it dry, Jack, because they expect to have a good field because it looks like this rain is here to stay for the evening.
Scoring in that third quarter after a long pass to Charlie Smith set it up first and goal from the 2. Montgomery went over from 1 yard out for Philadelphia. Wilbert scoring the touchdown to make it 12-0. Despite a penalty, Michelle kicked the extra point, 13-0. Yesterday in the college football results, Tangerine Bowl went to North Carolina State 30-17 over Pittsburgh. The Liberty Bowl winner was Missouri. They defeated LSU 20-15. The Sun Bowl, Texas over Maryland 42-0. We'll have the Cotton Bowl here on New Year's Day for you from Dallas, Notre Dame, and Houston. Well, Atlanta has the ball. And they'll be kicking. John Shira stands inside his 35 waiting for the punt. John James has kicked the ball 5 times. This is number 6 for him. 33-yard average. The snap by Paul Reisig. James gets into it. A low kick. Shira takes it. 34, 35. 40-yard line up the middle to the 45. So again, the Eagles have fine field position. Neither team has been able to force the others into bad field position as a result of the kicking game here today. On a wet field, only a 31-yard punt that time.
Not a very good kicking game at all. Neither one of them seemed to be able to put the foot into the football and to get it up high enough and far enough to hurt anyone on it. We did have one good kick an earlier part of the ball game, but that was nullified because of a man being down the field too quickly against the Falcons, I believe. The ball was stopped and rolled dead on about the 2 or 3 yard line, and then the next time James kicked it out of the end zone. So we have had good field position, Jack. To me, it shows you that the score's not higher. We have 2 good defensive football teams out there, and it has been till the second half before the Philadelphia Eagles even started to thinking about throwing the football against the Atlanta Falcons. And, of course, the Falcons playing it close to the vest all through the football game. Only in this last series did they try to make any attempt whatsoever to throw the football and to get into their passing offense. So it's really, I guess you'd say, it's been rather a dull football game. Nothing that great. The Jaworski so far is 12 for 20 for 131 yards and 1 TD. He's been hitting the little curl ins and the quick outs, and then, of course, he caught Charlie Smith on 1 down just before going in the end zone in the 3rd period. They caught Atlanta in the blitz and took advantage of it. Their first touchdown, of course, coming, the one going to Carmichael, again on a blitz, and Atlanta shooting a strong safety, leaving the middle open, and Rawdon Lawrence was not up to stopping big 6'8" Carmichael.
Ray Strong, one of the Atlanta running backs who was blocking on that punt, comes off injured. A leg injury of some sort. We won't guess any further about it. Clayman Bennett, the head coach of Atlanta, said he thought it would take 23 points to win this game. Got a long way to go, hasn't he? From the 45-yard line, the Eagles on first down. Atlanta shows the blitz again. They always do. Jaworski with a quick pass out here to Carmichael is underthrown and incomplete. And again, he had the right play called. He just missed connection.
He did. He was pressured a little bit by number 75, Murrow, in there. He had to get rid of the ball a little quicker than he wanted to. Carmichael, of course, coming in, the ball was thrown low, and when it's thrown low like that to Carmichael, he has an awful long way to go down to get it.
Yeah, he's only 6'8".
It's hard to overthrow him.
Second down and 10. Charlie Smith goes to the right. Carmichael splits left. Montgomery is back in there for the Eagles. And on second down, Jaworski is back to throw. Swings it out to Montgomery, one-on-one, trying to get outside. He's tackled for a loss of 5 yards on the play. Frank Reed was looking him right in the eye and wouldn't turn him loose.
Oh, he sure would. The footage is a little slippery down at this point, too, and Montgomery really tried to outmaneuver him, wasn't able to, and lost his footing. And the Falcons were up to the test. They stopped him for no gain.
So it's third down and 15 from their own 40. Clock stopped, 14-18 remaining in the game. Eagles scored a touchdown in the first quarter, missed the extra point. They got a TD in the third, and they lead 13-0. They're going from our right to our left here in the final period of this game with 14 minutes remaining. On 3rd and 15, Jaworski, who hasn't been intercepted all day, is back to throw. Good protection. Now he's chased, runs out of the pocket, hit from behind and tackled. The ball comes loose, but the play was whistled dead, and I don't know if Jaworski's going to be able to get up. He was really whacked. Fulton Kuykendall was the first one in there, and Jaworski was really blasted and sacked for the 3rd time this afternoon.
He was forced out of the pocket. A very good rush by the Falcon football team, and they're still fighting on the field down there. But the Falcons have the football, but the referee has called the play dead, and it's going to be a 4th down and punting situation.
How's Jaworski?
Jaworski is he's still down on the ground. He was hit pretty hard.
John Walden and John Shira are the other quarterbacks for Philadelphia in case Jaworski, who is now on his feet, is unable to continue. He's a big kid, 6'2", 195, but he took 2 hits. One took him down, and the other on the way down, he got smacked again.
He's a gutty kid. I think he'll be back. I don't think he wants to stay out of this football game. He's a tough competitor. He's a hard study at the quarterback, watching films and doing his homework very, very well, and I think he's done a fine job here this afternoon.
Here's the 7th punt by Mike Michelle. He'll get it away from his own 25. He kicked the dandy this time, and he sends Rickman way back inside the 20-yard line. He got one block, a flag goes down, and so does Rickman at the Atlanta 30-yard line. And we probably have a clip, as we frequently do. That was a 52-yard punt by Mike Michelle, and if it is flipping against Atlanta, they'll start way back in their own territory with 13 and a half left in the game. Terry Tottolo is downfield for Philadelphia. Some kick by Michelle.
An outstanding kick. The second longest one this afternoon, and he kicked another one just previous to that, Jack, but then, of course, there was a penalty on the play, and then came back and did not get a particularly good kick off the next time. And we do have a clipping penalty against the Atlanta Falcons, which puts them in a very precarious situation, knowing that they're going to have to throw the football, and the Eagles are going to come after it.
With 13 and a half left, Falcons are way back of their 8-yard line after the booming punt by Michelle and the subsequent clipping penalty. They're trailing 13-0, Atlanta is. Bartkowski has played all the way. He's at quarterback. And he gives to stand back. He gets across the 10 to the 11, a gain of 3, going to the left side. It'll be 2nd down, and now the old clock is going to start to kill the Falcons.
13 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the 4th quarter of play. The Falcons have not shown much offense all day long. Well, what little they've shown has been on the ground. Bartkowski has been rushed 2 or 3 times and has not been able to throw the football as well as you would like to think that he can.
Alfred Jackson is a wide receiver, along with Rickman. And on 2nd down and 6, Bartkowski's back to throw, rolling right. He throws it to the underneath man, and that's Jackson. He is tackled across the 15-yard line, short of a 1st down. It'll be a 3rd down play for Atlanta. Coming up for Philadelphia was Bobby Howard, the quarterback, to make the tackle. Now 12 and a half left.
And time's running out. They still have plenty of time, but they have to have some kind of sustained drive. They haven't had any all day long. Hopefully they'll get one this period sometime to be able to make the football game a little more interesting to the people here.
It is a 3rd and 2 play for Atlanta. The 1st down is of the utmost importance here. And the give is to stand back. He is tackled and did not make a 1st down. Up again with Bobby Howard, the cornerback, and Bill Berge helped finish him off. And it's kicking time for Atlanta. And they're not in a spot where they can gamble or do anything except kick.
No, they have to kick the football here. There's still too much time left to gamble from this situation with the position on the field. They have to kick and hope that James really puts his foot into it and sends it way back.
James stands inside his 5. Will kick it from the 5. John Shira is at midfield for the Eagles. The rain has stopped here. And a high punt by James should be well covered. A fair catch called for by Shira. Takes it on his own 49. A 34-yard punt, no return. And again, the Eagles are in great field position. They have the ball. They have 11:17 remaining, and they have the lead. With the score, Philadelphia 13, Atlanta nothing. Let's take time out.
Well, let's have a look at how the top basketball teams in the college ranks did this week. This is for the period December 18th through December 24th. Number 1 Duke at 6-0 was idle, as was number 2 Notre Dame at 4-0 idle. Number 3 UCLA upped its record to 6-1. Their lone defeat coming at the hands of the Irish a couple of weeks back. UCLA this week defeated Fordham 95-64 and Boston College 103-81. Number 4 Michigan State ran its record to 4-1 with a win over Cincinnati 63-52. Number 5 North Carolina State saw its record drop to 7-3 as they were upset by Maryland 124-110. Number 6 North Carolina is now 6-1 after defeating the Michigan team by a score of 62-59. Make that North Carolina defeated Cincinnati 62-59. Number 7 Michigan 4-1 was idle. Now let's get back to Atlanta.
13-0 Philadelphia, 11-17 remaining in the game. Neither Johnny Unitas nor I have an axe to grind with regard to the winner of this game. So Johnny's references to making it a better game is on behalf of the Atlanta club, right, John? Hopeful that they'll make a better showing before the final gun time.
They played well, and I think the fans deserve to see a lot better football game. They've been out, they supported this football team, and I think we all know that Atlanta is able to play a lot better than what they've shown so far today.
Motion by the tight end. Jaworski was back in there, gives to Montgomery. Montgomery went for only a yard and a half over the right side, starting from his own 49, and he was driven back. And the primary tackler was Jeff Murrow. And the other Jeff Yates was also in on it. Montgomery has carried 14 times and only gained 19 yards.
It's a little bit below his average.
Just a touch. He gained during the year a total of 1,220 yards. And he averaged 4.7 yards per carry. But not today. 2nd and 8 for Philadelphia from the Atlanta 49. And Jaworski not sitting on it is back to throw. He looks, pops it over the middle, and it is incomplete. Incomplete, intended for Charlie Smith. He had drawn heavy coverage, and the pass was thrown low into the deck by Jaworski. They're not sitting on it. The play calling is not ultra-conservative, but his throwing is conservative, John. He's not putting it up for grabs.
That's right. He's throwing the ball well, and he's keeping the ball low when he has to. Charlie Smith that time was right on target. He was just low with the football.
Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
3rd and 8 Philadelphia from the Atlanta 49. Jaworski under a big rush, pops it off, and it is dropped incomplete at the 40-yard line. He had the right play call, threw it low, but Charlie Smith couldn't catch it, and now it's kicking time again for Mike Michel.
Well, he read the blitz that time, Jack. He had as you mentioned, the right play call. He did not have the ball up where it should have been, however. Had he had it there, I'm sure it would have been a first down for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's reading the blitz very, very well, and they're changing the play at the line of scrimmage. I think he's doing an excellent job.
A bad snap, but Michel did a dandy job. Scooped it up, punted it away, and a fair catch is called for by Rickman at his 12. What a good job by Michel.
He did. He's the next shortstop someplace because he had to be to pick that football up. The 36-yard punt with no return.
This has been a kick game. 10-14 remaining in the contest. The sun is coming out now. And there's the timeout on the field. With a score, Philadelphia 13, Atlanta nothing.
Jack, as we mentioned, it hasn't been that good of a football game. The 2 big plays by the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, are on passes. One was for a touchdown to Carmichael. Charlie Smith coming up, making a fine catch on a fine throw by Jaworski, again against the blitz-type situation. Montgomery on a 1-yard score after on about the 3rd down, and we thought maybe that the Atlanta Falcons were going to hold him, but there was no holding Montgomery as it was over to break the plane into the end zone for the touchdown. So far, the Atlanta Falcons have not shown much offense whatsoever. The defense has been good. Bukowski is 11 for 20 for 96 yards and 1 interception. Not what you'd call a particularly good afternoon for a quarterback of his caliber. His offensive line has done the job fairly well. He's been pressured by Harrison most of the afternoon, and they have not been able to hold him out. He's doing a terrific. Hopefully they're going to do a better job as the game progresses.
This Atlanta crowd is whooping it up now, and the Falcons, by the way, are 7-1 at home. The crowd hasn't helped them this afternoon.
And they usually are a fourth period football team too, Jack, but so far they haven't shown any kind of offense, generate any type of offense so far, which could be due to the excellent play of the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
With 10-14 remaining, the Falcons are back to their 12-yard line. They have a first down. Bartkowski's back to throw. As time swings it to the sideline deep, and it is caught by Bubba Bean, and he dropped it. Bubba Bean had the ball all the way out to midfield, and I'll be darned if he didn't drop the ball.
Well, you can't have those things happen, especially when you're behind 13-0. That's just poor concentration on Bubba Bean. I don't know whether the ball was wet or what, but the ball was perfectly thrown by Bartkowski. You wouldn't want the ball thrown any better than that. The ball came down right in his arms and bounced right out. What do you say to the guy when he comes back, Lance? Get out of here.
You know, we might be looking back at that play as the play of the game when he dropped it at midfield.
That's certainly true.
So it's 2nd and 10, back at the 12 with 10:07 remaining in the game. And the Eagles leading 13-0. Out they come. Francis and Rickman, the wide receivers. Bartkowski fakes short and throws it long, and it is intercepted. Taken away by Bobby Howard. The Eagles come back the other way to the 40, to the 35-yard line. Down to the 30 goes Bobby Howard. And the Eagles have the ball, and that's the second time today Bartkowski just threw it as far as he could and said, "Who wants it?"
That's a bad call, Jack. Bad throw, a bad decision on his part. If he was the one who called the play, it was his decision to throw the football. He should have gone elsewhere with the football. There was no way that anyone was going to get deep on Bobby Howard, who was 5 yards behind the receiver all the way. And, of course, when the ball was thrown up in the air, he played the football extremely well, coming up with the interception.
Then no reaction by the Atlanta club to stop him. It was, a 27-yard return by Howard.
That's right. I don't know whether they just have lost all the enthusiasm or what, but they're still in a football game. You have 9 minutes, 52 seconds to go, and you're only down 13 points. You better get it up.
Jaworski from the 29 to Montgomery to the 28, and that's all. Montgomery, who's been stopped almost all day long, gained only a yard. That was the 5th turnover. The 5th turnover for Atlanta. Philadelphia has 1 turnover.
It's been Philadelphia's football game. They're playing well, both offensively, defensively, and of course the Falcons are only playing one half of the football game. The defense is playing extremely well. Offensively, they leave a lot to be desired.
9.5 left in the game. Palmoina made that last tackle. And it is 2nd down and 10 from the 29-yard line of Atlanta. Bartkowski is back to throw, and his quick shot is caught down to the 25-yard line by the tight end Osborne. A short gain on the play. He was immediately taken down. Stayed in bounds. Clock running. 8:55 remaining. And it was Tom Pridemore, the safety man, with the tight end. All the Eagles are in good shape now.
They're extremely good shape. And Jaworski, watching it to see what they're doing, he's not thrown that many different variety of patterns. The diagonals, the quick outs, and the quick slants has been what he has been throwing in a few turn-ins. And that is it, but he's able to get the ball away very quickly before the rush is able to get to him.
3rd and 7 from the 25. The blitz is on. Jaworski drops it off quickly for a first down, and it is caught by the wide receiver, Ken Payne. Another first down for Philadelphia.
Again, you see what I just mentioned and illustrated to you, that it's strictly quick out, quick turn in, quick slant, turn in by Charlie Smith, and that's been his whole offense, the quick stuff, and that's the thing that'll kill that blitz faster than anything, especially if you can pick it up and get the ball off, and the defenders are playing off of the offensive pieces.
He's taking only a 2-step drop and letting it fly.
That's all you need, pal.
From the 15-yard line of Atlanta now, the Eagles have a first down. They lead 13-0. And the give is to the up back, Hogan. He drives to the 14. The ball came loose. So The ball came loose. Who has it? A big pileup as they scramble for it. They dig down into the pile to see who has possession. Hogan ran with the ball. He was hit up the middle.
Nobody wants